Chapter 5952. Lin Xian was shocked. What could be more important than searching for the Six Paths Gate? One should know that the sword of reincarnation might be there. Wasn't the other party tempted? The old man said, "This is very important to me, because I will die if I don't go." So serious. Lin Xian frowned. The old man said, "Higgin sent me an invitation and invited me. Do you think I dare to not go?" Higgin. Lin Xian was even more shocked. "Why did Higgin invite you?" The old man said, "He didn't invite me. He invited a lot of people, and I'm just one of them. I don't know why, but I don't dare to offend Higgin now. So I have to attend this gathering." After saying that, he looked at Lin Xian nervously. If Lin Xian didn't agree, he would be in a difficult position. To his surprise, Lin Xian smiled. "All right, I'll go with you. I want to see what Higgin is up to." The location of the gathering was in high heavens, a place that ordinary people couldn't enter. In other words, those who attended the gathering were all extraordinary people with status and strength. Higgin must have a purpose for gathering all these people at this time. Lin Xian took the opportunity to find out. High heavens, shadowless mountain. There were many chariots parked at the foot of the mountain, and each chariot was surrounded by roads. Just the chariots alone were extraordinary. Each chariot could sweep through a world. One could imagine how terrifying the owners of the chariots were. On the mountain, there were many buildings and palaces that were formed with the power of laws and heaven and earth. It was like a paradise on earth. Higgins' means were really terrifying. At this moment, many people had arrived on the mountain, including the old man in plain clothes. Bailing was specially dressed today. She was exceptionally beautiful, like a fairy who had fallen into the mortal world. Many people turned their heads to look at her. Qin Tian and the old man in plain clothes were also specially dressed. Lin Xian was also there, but he changed his aura and wore a mask to prevent Higgins' people from recognizing him. That way, he wouldn't be able to get any information. After arriving, he looked around and discovered that the people around him were all extremely terrifying. There were also some young people with extraordinary talents. Presumably, they had followed their elders here. At this moment, Lin Xian was stunned as he saw a familiar face. He said to Lark and the others, "I'll go over there first." Without waiting for Bailing and the others to reply, Lin Xian walked towards that place. There was a tall figure there. His body was covered in blue scales that emitted a deep blue radiance. It was like an ocean. His aura was incomparably powerful, so much so that there were many people surrounding him, looking as if they were worshipping him. An old man looked at the tall figure and exclaimed, "Senior, could it be that you are the legendary tyrant sea demonic crocodile? Heavens, I've heard of you in the ancient books of my family. I heard that you were an existence that swept across the world 500,000 years ago. I didn't expect to see you with my own eyes today, an expert who had awakened 500,000 years ago." The others were even more shocked. One after another, they raised their wine cups and toasted the tyrannical sea demonic crocodile. The tyrannical sea monstrous crocodile raised his head and said, "You youngsters have grown up pretty well. When I have time, I'll give you some pointers." "Thank you, Senior." The surrounding old men were extremely excited. 500,000 years ago was considered the ancient era. The other party definitely knew some ancient cultivation methods and divine abilities. If he could teach them a little, they would benefit greatly. In particular, those young disciples were even more excited and envious. At this moment, a sneer was heard. Who dared to laugh at them? They turned their heads and glared at the person. He saw a masked figure walking over. "Were you the one who laughed at us just now? Who are you, and which family are you from? Do you want to die?" A cold voice was heard. Lin Xian snorted coldly. "Get lost, a bunch of ants." The surrounding people were furious. The fact that they could come to this gathering meant that their identities were extraordinary. At the very least, They were supreme existences in the depths of the deity ground. When had they ever been intimidated by a stranger? Why do you want to fight? Lin Xian sneered. I advise you not to do that, because all of you combined can't even compare to one of my fingers. How arrogant. You look like a young man. Which family are you from? A bunch of people can't even compare to one of your fingers. I can kill you with one slap. Many people around shouted coldly. Some young elites roared angrily, while some older powerhouses' faces darkened. Lin Xian ignored all of this. He stared at the tyrannical sea monstrous crocodile and said, Why aren't you coming over to greet me? The tyrannical sea monstrous crocodile was also angry. Who was he? He was an ancient powerhouse. Although he had just broken the seal, countless people looked up to him. He stared at the other party with a hint of killing intent in his eyes. Little ant, are you teaching me a lesson? Lin Xian laughed. Why, don't you recognize me? A few days ago, when you just broke the seal, I sent you flying with one punch. I was in a good mood and didn't chase after you. Why do you want me to continue? Lin Xian's voice was extremely cold, which stunned the surrounding people. He sent the tyrannical sea monstrous crocodile flying? What a joke. Who does he think he is? I think he really doesn't know what's good for him. Look, senior tyrannical sea monstrous crocodile is angry. I can kill him with one slap. However, when the tyrannical sea monstrous crocodile heard this, his pupils constricted. He looked as if he had seen a ghost. He suddenly stood up, and his huge body trembled slightly. Who are you? Are you that person? He remembered. Back then, when he was sleeping underground, someone came to provoke him. So he broke the seal. Back then, he wanted to swallow those people because he had been hungry for hundreds of thousands of years. However, there was a young man who sent him flying with a single punch. That surge of power made him feel terrified. Is it the person in front of me? The other party was wearing a mask, and there was a mysterious aura on his body that he couldn't detect. However, when he saw Lin Xian's eyes, he seemed to have been struck by lightning. It was this gaze. It was so calm, deep, and ignored everything. It was really that person. In the next moment, he put down his wine cup and hurried over. His huge body bowed, slightly to Lin Xian. So it's young master. I didn't recognize young master. Please forgive me. How could I dare to attack you? The surrounding people were dumbfounded. The wine cups in their hands fell to the ground. Their bodies all hid. What did they see? The incomparably powerful ancient powerhouse, senior tyrannical sea monstrous crocodile, actually lowered his head to a young man. Moreover, he was so respectful. Heavens, who is this young man? Could it be that he is also a powerhouse from the ancient times, or is he a powerhouse from the ancient times? Did they dare to scold such a person before? They were so scared that they almost knelt on the ground. Young master, please spare our lives. They also begged for mercy. Chapter 59-53. Lin Xian's simple words were enough to frighten an ancient expert, causing countless people to panic. Lin Xian smiled. Since you recognize me, then it's easy. Follow me. The overlord sea demonic crocodile could only follow Lin Xian. It asked, Young master, what do you need me to do? Lin Xian said, Wait quietly. When I need you, I will let you do it. Don't think about running away. With my ability, it's not difficult to kill you. I understand. The overlord sea demonic crocodile didn't dare to be presumptuous and could only leave with Lin Xian. After they left, the geniuses around exclaimed, Who is this person? He's so mysterious. Which era is he from? I don't know. There are many ancient powerhouses in this golden age. Some even woke up from the ancient era. Who knows who he is? However, he must be an earth-shattering figure to be able to make the overlord sea demonic crocodile so scared. Bayan is really amazing. She can even invite such a person. On the other side, Bailing and the others were also shuttling through the crowd, greeting and chatting from time to time. After all, their identities were also extraordinary, and they knew many masters and geniuses. When Lin Xian came back, Bailing was shocked. Behind him was a huge monster. "Who is this?" Qin Tian took a look and almost fainted in fright. The murderous aura on the other party was too terrifying. It was as if he had returned from the Azura battlefield. The old man in cloth exclaimed. This aura was so ancient. It was an ancient powerhouse. The overlord sea demonic crocodile snorted. "What do you know? I'm an ancient powerhouse from 500,000 years ago." Hearing this, the old man in cloth and the others were even more frightened. To them, such a person was a godlike existence. Lin Xian, however, lectured him. "These are my friends. Be polite to them." "Oh, they are the young master's friends." The overlord, sea demonic crocodile, quickly changed his expression. "Sorry, I shouldn't have scared you. You can call me Little Crocodile." Bai Ling and the others were dumbfounded. Why would such a terrifying ancient expert lower his head like this? Could all of this be because of Lin Xian? This was too unbelievable. Lin Xian and the others were about to become the center of attention. Lin Xian frowned. He didn't want to attract too much attention. He said, "Make your body smaller." "No problem." The tyrant sea monstrous crocodile's body shook and turned into a palm-sized crocodile. Then it jumped onto Bailing's shoulder. Bai Ling was startled. However, when she sensed that there was no danger, she heaved a sigh of relief. "Fairy Bai Ling, you're here." At this moment, a handsome young man walked over from the front. He was wearing a battle robe and had an extraordinary aura about him. Su Lang. When Bailing saw the other party, she was also nervous. Qin Tian, who was beside her, was filled with hostility. "So it's young Master Su Lang. Long time no see." Bailing nodded in greeting. Qin Tian snorted coldly. Both of them pursued Bailing and were competitors. When Su Lang saw Qin Tian, he said, "Qin Tian, you're no longer my opponent, because not long ago I became the disciple of an expert from the Nirvana realm. Now I'm also considered a member of the Nirvana realm. Do you still dare to compete with me?" "What? A member of the Nirvana realm?" After Qin Tian heard this, he was completely scared. He was so scared that his body trembled. No matter how powerful he was, he didn't dare to offend someone from the Nirvana realm. Bailing was also stunned. Su Lang stared at Bailing, and a trace of fire appeared in his eyes. He said, "Fairy Bai Ling, I hope to have dinner with you one day. Is that a demonic beast pet on your shoulder? It's too ugly. Next time, I'll give you a better-looking one to match your status." The tyrant sea monstrous crocodile didn't pay attention to him at first, but when it heard this, it gritted its teeth. "Ugly your sister. Do you believe it? I'll slap you to death." Su Lang's face darkened, but he didn't flare up in front of Bailing. He said coldly, "Your pet is really arrogant. However, there are some people you can't offend." At this time, a middle-aged man came from afar and said a few words to Su Lang. Su Lang nodded and said, "Fairy Bai Ling, I'll see you tonight." He then left. The overlord sea monstrous crocodile looked at his back and said, "Damn it, don't stop me. Wait, I really want to slap him to death." Bai Ling and Qin Tian trembled in fear. Lin Xian raised his hand and said, "Aren't you afraid of the Nirvana realm?" The overlord sea monstrous crocodile said, "Of course I'm afraid. If it were the emperor of the Nirvana realm, I wouldn't dare to be presumptuous in front of him. But who does he think he is? He's just a disciple recruited by the Nirvana realm. He's at the bottom of the Nirvana realm. I don't care about such a person." At this time, a low voice came from the front. It spread in all directions like muffled thunder. Instantly, everyone on Shadowless Mountain fell silent. They didn't dare to say a word, because they saw a group of people walking out. The one walking at the front was Su Lang. Is he going to host this time on behalf of the Nirvana realm? Countless people were curious. Su Lang stood in the air and said with a smile, "Fellow Taoists and seniors, my name is Su Lang. I'm a disciple of the Nirvana realm." Countless people exclaimed. Those young geniuses were envious that they could become a disciple of the Nirvana realm. It was something that they had dreamed of for several lifetimes. Why did the Nirvana realm ask us to come here? At this time, an old man asked. The others were also discussing. Su Lang said, "It's simple. The Nirvana realm wants to recruit a group of people recently. I wonder if any of you would be interested? Join the Nirvana realm?" Countless people were stunned. Their eyes turned red. Of course, I'm interested. However, some people were confused. The Nirvana realm is very strict in selecting people. It's impossible to recruit so many people. "Young Master Su, are you lying to us? How can it be?" Su Lang said with a smile. "Of course, this time we're only recruiting a new team from the Nirvana realm. If you join this team and perform well, you may become a real disciple of the Nirvana realm." They're not real disciples. Some people lost interest. However, Su Lang snapped his fingers and said, "Come out." 5 figures appeared behind him. They were all clad in ancient armor. These armors were very broken and full of cracks. However, it also carried an ancient and desolate aura. After the 5 people came out, Su Lang said, "These are the 5 people in the new team. I think some of you know these 5 people, right?" Sure enough, someone in the crowd exclaimed, "Brother, you've disappeared for so many days. Did you join this team?" Someone else exclaimed, "Uncle, Grandpa." In short, all kinds of exclamations were heard. "So these are the people around us. All right, the 5 of you, please show us your strength." 5 people in ancient armor walked out, who would like to experience it. One of the young men said faintly, "I'll do it." An old master walked out. They all wanted to see what the Nirvana realm was up to. He rushed out with his fists roaring. He was an old 9-crown king with great strength. However, the young man in ancient armor didn't care at all. When the other party got close, he slapped the other party to the ground. Then he stepped on the young man's head. "You're too weak." How was this possible? Countless people were stunned. A family member exclaimed, "This can't be right. A month ago, Lei Chen wasn't this powerful. His strength had increased by more than 2 times. Chapter 59-54. The scene in front of them shocked the others. They really didn't expect it. They couldn't believe that a young man who had disappeared for a few months had such a drastic change in his strength. "Why, don't you believe it?" Su Lang laughed. He waved his hand, and Lei Chen stepped back. Another figure walked over. It was a woman called Shuiyu, a member of the Shui clan. After Shuiyu walked over, she looked at the surrounding clans and sections. She said, 10 masters come at me together." "What? 10 experts at the same time? This woman is too arrogant. Isn't she?" "Humph! I don't believe that you're really that powerful." 10 figures walked out. They didn't hold back and attacked Shuiyu together. Ice sealing the world. Shuiyu struck out with her palm and instantly divided the 10 people between the sky and the earth. The terrifying cold wind whistled. Everyone's body trembled, and their eyes widened. It was too terrifying. Those who attacked were all experts, but they were frozen by her palm. How terrifying was Shuiyu? Su Lang walked over and said with a smile, "Have you seen it? These young people have only joined for 3 months. What are you all waiting for? What are you all waiting for? As long as you join the Otherworld Heavenly Sect, your strength will change drastically. In fact, he might even be able to grow to 2 or 3 times his original strength. This was an extremely rare opportunity. Everyone's eyes were red. They wouldn't have believed it if it was before. After all, they were just outer disciples of the Otherworld Heavenly Sect. How could they be willing to be other people's lackeys? But now it wasn't certain. The change in their strength made them jealous, even if they were outer disciples. So what? They would risk their lives to get a place in the otherworld heavenly sect. I'll join. I want to join too. Me too. One by one, voices rang out. The scene was very lively. When Su Lang saw this scene, the corners of his mouth curled up and he sneered. This time, he had received an order to recruit a group of experts. Although it was called Outer Disciples, it was actually a recruitment of a group of men of sacrifice. These people gathered together to carry out some experiments and adventures. As for the survival rate, it was 9 out of 10. Of course, Su Lang wouldn't tell these people about it. At this moment, he was very happy. He had completed the mission. He said, "Maybe I can join the otherworld heavenly sect." She had officially become a member of Higan. His strength could still be improved. Great, he might even have the chance to become a martial monarch. Thinking of this, he smiled proudly. However, at this moment, a voice was heard. Is Higan really that great? His voice was not loud, but it caused everyone to fall silent. They looked at each other. Su Lang's face darkened. Who's challenging Higan? Did he not want to live anymore? Get the hell out here. Everyone retreated in fear. Only one figure stood there with his hands behind his back. Su Lang's gaze landed on the figure. Kid, were you the one who said that just now? That's right, it was me. Lin Xian said, indifferently. The people around said, it really is him. Even Su Lang was stunned. This little brat actually dared to admit it. So openly. He scoffed. Do you know the consequences of offending Higan? The only outcome was death. With a wave of his hand, Lei Chen walked out. Kill him in the cruelest way possible. Right now, he wanted to establish his authority. Lei Chen nodded and walked forward. There was an extremely terrifying thunderbolt in his hand. He turned into a bolt of lightning and charged at Lin Xian. When the people around saw this scene, they shook their heads and sighed. This young man is dead meat. Yes, he doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Who does he think he is? How dare he challenge Higan? Lei Chen's strength was even stronger than the older generation's experts. He was definitely going to die. Everyone sneered coldly. However, there were a few people who were very calm. They were by Ling Qintian and the old man in plain clothes. They had seen Lin Xian's strength with their own eyes. He could even kill a half-step emperor, let alone these people. Looking at the thunderbolt that was charging at him, Lin Xian sneered and snapped his fingers. Crack! The void in front of him was quickly shattered by the box. Countless cracks spread in all directions. The god of thunder's body was torn into pieces by these cracks. With a boom, the sky was filled with a bloody mist. Everyone was dumbfounded. What? The god of thunder was dead. What did he do? He killed Lei Chen. I seem to have only seen him snap his fingers and kill a top genius. Who is this person? He's too powerful. Countless cries of surprise rang out. Even Su Lang was taken aback, and his face darkened. His face darkened as he stared at Lin Xian. Good boy, you have the strength. No wonder you dare to be so arrogant. However, do you think you can challenge the Heavenly King with your little strength? You're too naive. I'll let you know what despair is. He waved his hand again, and the few figures behind him walked over. Shui Yu and the others, a total of 7 people, stood in the void. These people were emitting an extremely terrifying light. Lin Xian shook his head slightly. His expression was disdainful. Too weak. These people are all ants. They're not worth my effort at all. Let my pet do it. As he said that, he waved his hand. The Overlord Sea Demonic Crocodile flew over. At this moment, the Overlord Sea Demonic Crocodile was still the size of a palm, floating in the void. Because it was very small, it didn't look so ferocious. The people around all turned their heads. When they looked at the Overlord Sea Demonic Crocodile, they were all stunned. Such a small crocodile wanted to challenge the top geniuses in front of him. This young man is too arrogant. Yes, I admit that he's powerful, but he shouldn't be so arrogant. An old man shook his head. I've never seen such an arrogant person. What a reckless thing. Go for him. Su Lang also felt the challenge. Has he been slapped in the face? Unforgivable. With a wave of his hand, Shui Yu and the other 6 people quickly rushed to the front. They were going to fight Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian said, "It's time for you to show off. Don't hold back." After hearing that, the Overlord Sea Demonic Crocodile was very excited. If it could satisfy Lin Xian, it would gain a lot of benefits. Perhaps it could even gain freedom. Therefore, it sneered. "You bunch of ants, how dare you compete with me?" Kneel down obediently. It roared angrily. Then, it turned into a bolt of lightning and flew over quickly. Hearing the roar of the Overlord Sea Demonic Crocodile, the sky fell and the earth cracked. The surrounding void turned into countless black holes. The strong cultivators of the families and sects who came here all went crazy. They felt that their souls were about to be torn apart. Damn it, what level is this crocodile? It's too terrifying. With a roar, it could destroy the world. Suddenly, a thunderous sound came from the front. It turned out that the Overlord Sea Demonic Crocodile had penetrated the bodies of 2 geniuses. The 2 geniuses fell to the ground. Their bodies were full of cracks. Not only that, the Overlord Sea Demonic Crocodile continued to shuttle. Every time, it would penetrate a genius. When Shui Yu's body was penetrated, the 7 geniuses had completely fallen to the ground. Chapter 59-55. What a piece of trash. Top geniuses? You can't even withstand a single blow from me. The gigantic crocodile was floating in the air, laughing coldly. Oh my God! Were the 7 top geniuses all dead? In the blink of an eye. What kind of beast was that? Was it an ancient beast? How could it be so terrifying? Everyone was going crazy because they had seen the strength of the 7 geniuses from Shui Yu. They were absolutely terrifying. When the 7 of them joined forces, how terrifying was that? But now, they were all dead. It was unimaginable. Su Lang was even more furious. His whole body was trembling and his face was black. Had his plan been ruined? Kill this demonic beast. Kill this brat. Exterminate them for me. Make them wish they were dead. With a wave of his hand, the older generation experts behind him quickly made their moves. The 3 old men rushed over. Their bodies brought with them powerful laws that swept through everything. Celestial skill, flowing cloud. The 3 of them were like clouds and mist surrounding the Overlord Sea Monstrous Crocodile. The tyrannical sea monstrous crocodile let out a furious roar. Its originally small body suddenly enlarged, turning into a huge monster. It clawed at the 3 old men and sent them flying. The 3 old men fell into the ruins and coughed up blood. What? It's that beast? I remember that it's an ancient beast. It's attacking the Heavenly King. Damn it. It's that beast. Run. When the surrounding clans and sects saw that, they all retreated frantically. That crocodile was too terrifying. It was an ancient strong cultivator. You're courting death. Even if you're an ancient strong cultivator, you still have to die. Su Lang shouted angrily. He waved his hand again and summoned more strong cultivators. Lin Xian stood there, his eyes twinkling. He realized something was wrong. He said to the old men behind him, "You guys should leave first. It's dangerous here." "Be careful." Bai Ling and the others reminded him and quickly retreated. Actually, they weren't worried about Lin Xian. They knew how strong Lin Xian was. They retreated. Lin Xian raised his head and looked at the sky. The geniuses who had died before, including Lei Chen, were all dead. However, there was a bone within their bodies that had quietly sunk into the ground. What a strange thing. Lin Xian frowned. It seemed that there was indeed something wrong with the increase in strength of these geniuses. That was not the case at all. It was a normal increase in strength. What did Higgin do? He had to decipher Higgins' plan. Because he was Higgins' enemy, he would not allow Higgin to become stronger. Buzz. Just as he was pondering this question, two old men instantly appeared behind Lin Xian. The two killing swords pierced towards Lin Xian's heart. Go to hell, Lin Xian sneered. He didn't move at all. He just stood there. When the tyrant sea monstrous crocodile saw this scene, he rushed over quickly and slapped the two killing swords away. Then, with a swing of its tail, the two old men were sent flying. The bodies of the two old men were torn apart. This time, none of you will be able to escape. More and more experts appeared in the surroundings. They surrounded the entire villa. Only Lin Xian and the tyrant sea monstrous crocodile were left in the villa. The others had all left the villa. They were watching the battle outside. Someone said, "These two people are dead. Aren't they?" Of course. Who could come out alive from such a lineup? Countless people shook their heads. However, Bailing said, "They will definitely come out alive. Just wait and see." In the blink of an eye, 100 masters appeared in the villa. They stared at the tyrant sea monstrous crocodile. Kill. They rushed over. The battle broke out in an instant. The tyrant sea monstrous crocodile was very powerful. Not long after, the 100 masters were killed. Their blood turned into a sea of blood, echoing between heaven and earth. Next, it's your turn. The tyrant sea monstrous crocodile stared at Su Lang. Su Lang was so scared that he retreated and fell to the ground. But at this time, he crushed the token in his hand, and a space door appeared. From inside, more masters walked out. This time, there were more than 1,000 of them, and several of them were half-emperors. After they came out, their powerful strength suppressed everything. Among them, one of the half-emperors was a middle-aged man. He frowned and said, "Who is so reckless? Who dares to go against our otherworld heavenly king?" The people watching the battle outside also exclaimed, "Look, even the half-emperors are here, and there are 5 of them." As expected of the otherworld heavenly king, they have such a powerful lineup as soon as they make a move. I think that except for the emperor, who can deal with it calmly, the others will definitely die. Su Lang stood up and laughed proudly. Did you see that? This is the lineup of our otherworld heavenly king. Let's see how you will die. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Xian stared at him. Once again, a piercing light appeared in his eyes. Immediately, Su Lang's soul was destroyed. His eyes were wide open as he fell to the ground. Even until his death, he couldn't believe that the other party killed him with a single glance. He was dead. The masters who came also frowned. The half-emperor's expressions changed. What kind of method is this? Did he kill Su Lang with just a glance? They stared at Lin Xian and frowned tightly. It seems that their strength is not ordinary. Let's do it. They quickly rushed over. Kill this kid first. Their target was Lin Xian. The overlord sea demonic crocodile rushed over and blocked in front of Lin Xian. "If you want to attack, young master, you have to ask me first." His huge body expanded again, becoming thousands of meters long. He was indomitable. With a swipe of his claw, a mountain disappeared. The people outside went crazy when they saw this scene. They quickly retreated. This kind of power had completely surpassed them. It was not something they could resist at all. The strength of the 5 half-emperors was very terrifying. They swept through everything. The overlord sea demonic crocodile was about to use some unique skills. It said to Lin Xian, "Young master, you retreat first. I will finish them off completely." Lin Xian shook his head. "No, after watching for so long, it's time for me to warm up. You deal with the rest. Leave these 5 half-emperors to me." "Young master, are you going to make a move?" "Okay." The overlord sea demonic crocodile showed a gloating expression. He had been sent flying by Lin Xian with one punch. He knew how terrifying Lin Xian was. These 5 half-emperors were going to be in trouble. His figure flashed, and he flew into the distance to kill the others. He stopped the crocodile. Among them, a half-emperor roared and rushed over. Only one half-emperor came to Lin Xian. "I don't need so many people to kill you." The half-martial monarch slapped in Lin Xian's direction. He slapped at Lin Xian's face. Obviously, he wanted to torture Lin Xian. Lin Xian sneered. "Oh, you like to hit people's faces? What a coincidence. I also like to hit faces." Lin Xian also slapped out. "What a reckless thing." The half-emperor sneered. He was different from others. The person in front of him couldn't hurt him at all. Slap. The crisp sound of a slap rang out, spreading for millions of miles. Everyone felt their bodies tremble, and they subconsciously covered their faces. How painful would that slap be? In the villa in front, a scream sounded. The half-emperor who attacked was slapped away. The half-emperor's face was completely smashed. He fell to the ground, making a sound like a pig being slaughtered. Lin Xian, on the other hand, had one foot on his head. Chapter 59-56. When everyone saw the scene, they were scared silly. A pseudo-emperor was slapped in the face and fell to the ground. He was seriously injured. Was it an instant kill? How was that possible? The people on the other side went crazy. Could it be that the other party was already so powerful? Damn it, he was the one who was incomparably powerful. "Everyone, follow me," the middle-aged man in the lead roared. Immediately, the other 4 pseudo-emperors rushed over. This time, they were going to attack together to deal with Lin Xian. Not good. When the people outside the villa saw this scene, they exclaimed again. Although Lin Xian was incomparably powerful, it was a one-on-one battle before. Now, there were 4 of them attacking one. No matter how powerful Lin Xian was, it was impossible for him to resist. "Go to hell, kid." Immortal technique, Dragon Roar. Immortal technique, Scorching Sunday. Immortal technique, Lonely Mountain. Immortal technique, Golden Armor. The 4 pseudo-emperors immediately executed an incomparably powerful immortal technique. A terrifying attack enveloped Lin Xian. No one could block this attack. Was that all he had? It was really disappointing. Feeling such an attack, Lin Xian shook his head slightly. He raised his palm and walked forward. Divine ability. Sword slash 8 desolates. Boom. A sword slash in 8 directions. The terrifying sword chi collided with the opponent's immortal technique, and a thunderous sound rang out. Next, the 4 figures seemed to have been struck by lightning, and their bodies were shattered and sent flying. Puff. Blood splattered between heaven and earth. Everyone was stunned. Were the 4 pseudo-emperors injured? They were pseudo-emperors. Existence is second only to great emperors. Their strength was above 9 crown king. When 4 such experts join forces, no one could resist except a true great emperor. But now they were sent flying by a mysterious young man's sword. It was as if he was watching a fairy tale. Lin Xian sent the 4 of them flying with a sword. Then he walked forward. His gaze enveloped the 4 pseudo-emperors. He said coldly, "Is this all you've got? You're too weak. If you don't have any other means, I'll send you to hell." How could he be so powerful? The 4 half-martial emperors were also terrified. The middle-aged man in the lead roared, "Damn it, so what if you're strong? We have Higgin behind us. She's not someone you can challenge." After saying that, he waved his hand and took out a scroll. Then he opened it. The 4 quasi-emperors vomited all their blood onto the scroll. The scroll suddenly emitted a terrifying blood-red radiance. Mountain of corpses and blood sea painting. "Little brat, you can go to hell." The 4 boundary emperors worked together and threw out the scroll. The scroll suddenly expanded. Between heaven and earth, it swept across. It was as if the place had turned into an azure hell. Inside, there were mountains of corpses and seas of blood. The terrifying baleful aura made one's scalp go numb. In an instant, it enveloped Lin Xian. What is this? Countless people were stunned when they saw this scene. An old man exclaimed, "The mountain of corpses and blood sea diagram." This was a legendary forbidden artifact. It was formed from the corpses and blood of countless experts. It was extremely terrifying. It was said that after entering, it was no different from entering the 18 levels of hell. There was no way to come out alive. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He felt that the world around him had changed. There was blood and corpses everywhere. At the same time, a low voice came from the front. "Oh, another stranger came in?" The 4 half-martial emperors outside laughed. The middle-aged man in the lead said, "Lord Blood Spirit, this kid is very strong. His blood definitely contained unparalleled power. Is that so? You guys are so considerate. In that case, I'll gladly accept it." Inside the sea of blood, a blood-red figure appeared. It was Lord Blood Spirit. The murderous aura on his body was so strong that it made one's scalp go numb. The people outside also saw this scene and exclaimed, "Lord Blood Spirit." There was actually someone in the mountain of corpses and blood sea diagram. How terrifying was this person? He was simply a god of slaughter. Even Bailing and the rest became nervous. Was this diagram really so terrifying? Inside, Lord Blood Spirit stared at Lin Xian. His eyes were emitting an extremely terrifying light. "I can feel that you have a powerful blood chi. Your physique is definitely not simple. I'll accept it." With a wave of his hand, the sea of blood surged and swept towards Lin Xian. It wanted to swallow him. However, it stopped 1 meter away from Lin Xian. Not a single drop of blood could get close to Lin Xian. Lin Xian stood there, as if he was the ruler of everything. Seeing this scene, Lord Blood Spirit's pupils shrank. "This is impossible. I can't get close to your body. How did you do it?" She was too shocked. One must know that in this mountain of corpses and blood sea diagram, he was the absolute ruler. Everyone had to submit to him. However, the person in front of her was an exception. Lin Xian looked at the other party with a trace of disdain in his eyes. Seeing this kind of mocking smile, Lord Blood Spirit was completely angry. She wanted to rush over. However, in the next moment, she felt that there was a trace of mysterious light in the other party's right eye. It enveloped him. In the next moment, he didn't dare to move. Even his body seemed to be trembling slightly. For a moment, he was stunned. When the people outside saw this scene, they were all stunned. What's going on? Why didn't he make a move? The 4 pseudo-emperors were also dumbfounded. The middle-aged man in the lead asked, "Lord Blood Spirit, please make a move." In the scroll, Lin Xian looked forward and said with a smile, "What, Lord Blood Spirit? You're just a weapon spirit. How dare you be arrogant in front of me? Submit, or I'll destroy your body and soul." Damn it. Threatening me? Lord Blood Spirit was completely angry. When had he ever been threatened? He wanted to make a move. However, in the next moment, a black vortex appeared on Lin Xian's body. It covered the sky and covered the earth, directly shrouding the front. Feeling this aura, Lord Blood Spirit's face was filled with horror. This was the aura of the swallowing heaven jar. He was so scared that he directly retreated and crawled on the ground. This scene caused everyone to be stunned, especially the 4 pseudo-emperors. They were even more dumbfounded. Lord Blood Spirit actually knelt to the other party. Damn it, why? They roared crazily. However, Lord Blood Spirit didn't pay attention to them at all. He directly left Lin Xian's side and soared into the sky. The blood-colored scroll healed again, and then fled. Gone. The people on the other side went crazy. Was he scared away? Tyrant, sea, monstrous crocodile snorted coldly. Previously, he was also scared away. It could only be said that Lin Xian was too mysterious and terrifying. He wasn't an existence that they could imagine at all. It was normal for them to be scared away. Fortunately, he ran fast. Lin Xian glanced at the sky and didn't chase after him. Instead, he stared at the pseudo-emperors. He said, "What other tricks do you have? Show them. Otherwise, I'll send you to hell. Damn it, how did you do it? How did you let Lord Blood Spirit escape?" The middle-aged man in the lead gritted his teeth and roared. He really couldn't imagine. Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back and said proudly, "Because I'm a god." Chapter 59-57. Because I'm a god, an existence that you can't imagine. Lin Xian's words stunned everyone. Does a god really exist? Isn't that a legend? What? Impossible. The four half-emperors roared crazily, but it was too late for them to escape. Lin Xian waved his hand, and the power of the sky-swallowing jar emerged. For vortexes swallowed the opponents. The four of them screamed before vanishing into thin air. Are they dead? Everyone was stunned when they saw this scene. One person easily killed four half-emperors. This method was unbelievable. Lin Xian waved his hand and put away the four storage rings. Then he stood with his hands behind his back. The rest of the people were dealt with by the Overlord Sea Demonic Crocodile. The Overlord Sea Demonic Crocodile roared and attacked crazily. The remaining strong men of the Nirvana realm were no match for Lin Xian at all. It didn't take long for them to be destroyed. However, Lin Xian's brows were tightly knitted together. The reason for that was because he had once again seen something unusual. The Overlord Sea Demonic Crocodile walked over and said, "How is it, Lin Gongzi? Are you satisfied with my performance?" Lin Xian shook his head slightly. "No. How could it be? I've killed them all." The Overlord Sea Demonic Crocodile's face was a little ugly. Lin Xian said, "As an ancient strong man, didn't you notice? There are some things that you ignored." "What did you ignore?" The Overlord Sea Demonic Crocodile was stunned. He frowned and began to investigate carefully. Suddenly, he was surprised. "Hey, why are some bones under the ground? Is there something under the ground?" Lin Xian said, "It's not too late for you to find it now. Go and check it out." The people outside the villa were still stunned. They couldn't imagine it. The masters of the Nirvana realm were actually killed by someone. This was simply a fantasy. Who is that young man? He was wearing a mask, so they couldn't see his face clearly. Countless voices sounded. However, at that moment, Bailing and the plain-clothed old man were actually flying forward. This surprised the surrounding people. "Fairy Hundred Spirits, could it be that you know the origin of that masked man?" "Of course." Bailing raised her head and said, "That is Lin Gongzi." The surrounding people were stunned. Does he really know her? Bai Ling and the other two flew forward and entered the villa. He said, "Lin Gongzi, are you hurt?" Lin Xian shook his head. "They can't hurt me. However, you all should leave this place first because the battle is not over." It wasn't over? Bai Ling was stunned. She looked around and said, "How could that be? There's no one around." The old man's body trembled slightly as he looked at the ground in horror. "I can feel a mysterious power under the ground. Could it be that there's someone else?" Lin Xian glanced at the plain-clothed elder and said, "You are indeed from the Azura Dao." His perception was indeed sharp. That's right, there was something beneath the ground. And I guess it has something to do with the 6 paths. So, there's still a battle to come. You all should leave first. Okay, the old man nodded. They couldn't help much here. Instead, they would be a burden. Therefore, he brought Bai Ling, Qin Tian, and the other two back to the villa. The people outside the villa were still confused. "Why did you come out?" Bailing said, "Lin Gongzi said that there are enemies and the battle is not over." In addition, the experts outside the villa were also stunned. They checked carefully, but they didn't find anything. Just as they were puzzled, the villa in front of them suddenly changed. The ground of the villa cracked. Then, a monstrous aura surged out. Boom. This aura was extremely terrifying. It was like a black sea rushing out from the ground and sweeping through the 9 heavens. This scene stunned the people outside the villa. Oh my God! There's really still power. There are still people hiding under the ground. Retreat quickly. This is the aura of death. Countless people roared in horror, even bailing, and the others were stunned. Master, what is this? They looked at the old man in linen clothes. The old man in linen clothes was also pale. He retreated into the distance. He took a deep breath and said, "This is the power of the 6 paths. I can clearly feel it." The black sea in front of them swept over, emitting the aura of death. The overlord crocodile also retreated. He said, "Damn, there really is something." This death was extremely terrifying. It was as if the 18th level of hell had come. What the hell was this? Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He looked at the black sea in front of him and said in a deep voice, "This is the hell path." The hell path. The overlord crocodile was stunned. The people outside were also shocked. Could it be the hell path of the 6 paths? Legend had it that it controlled the power of hell. It was extremely terrifying. They didn't expect it to appear here. This group of people was much stronger than the group of people that Zhang Xian had brought with him. They didn't know if the masked man could withstand it. Could it be that he was going to run away later? Doubtful voices were heard one after another. It seemed that none of them had high hopes for Lin Xian this time. After all, he was one of the legendary 6 paths. It was so mysterious and terrifying. Boom! The sea of death in front of them rushed toward Lin Xian and directly swallowed Lin Xian. It's over. That kid is in danger. Just think about it. This time, there was a possibility that he would enter hell completely, living a life worse than death. Countless people sighed, but at this moment, a roar came from the black sea in front of them. Then, the whole world was split open. The black sea was split in half by the sword. The dazzling sword Qi was like a giant dragon as it roared furiously. God, what did I see? He actually split the black sea in half. So much aura of death can't hurt him? Can he form such a terrifying sword energy with a casual finger? Who the hell is he? At this moment, the geniuses and experts outside the villa were all stunned. The hell path is really terrifying. The aura of death even makes me a little scared. The overlord sea crocodile frowned. As an expert from 500,000 years ago, he was most afraid of losing his life. After all, he wasn't immortal. So, he was very resistant to the power of death. However, Lin Xian was still not afraid. He split it in half with a sword. The black sea in front of them couldn't heal. It was split in half and roared between heaven and earth. But for a moment, they didn't dare to rush over. Far away from the villa, there was another figure. He was abnormally mysterious and was hidden in the void. However, if someone saw it, they would be surprised, because it was a skeleton, a pink skeleton. If Lin Xian saw it, he would definitely recognize it. This pink skeleton was the Bone Emperor in hell. The Bone Emperor looked at the scene in front of him and was surprised. This young man has grown to such a level. He split the sea in half with a sword. The power of the hell path. It seemed that his sword energy was even more terrifying. However, the hell path was in the hands of the hidden heavenly emperor now. The next battle wouldn't be so easy. I don't know. Would he be able to withstand it? Chapter 59-58. In the heavenly land, in another palace, the laws were everywhere. It was like a paradise on earth. At the same time, a figure suddenly opened his eyes. An extremely terrifying light burst out from his eyes. Then his face darkened. Beside him, there were 2 beautiful women. At this moment, they were making tea for him. The tea leaves were actually enlightenment leaves. Seeing this scene, one of the women in black asked, "What's wrong, Great Emperor?" The other 2 women were also extraordinary. They had reached the half-emperor realm. They had been following Great Emperor Baiyu for many years, so they naturally knew how strong the Great Emperor was. There were very few things that could make the great emperor so surprised. Great Emperor Bayu said in a deep voice, I feel that the power of the hell path has been split open. Could it be that something happened to Su Lang? Hearing this, the woman in black was also shocked. In the heavenly land, only the realm of the gods would dare to fight with us. Could it be that those people had made a move? People from the realm of the gods? Great, I've long wanted to kill them. Now, the hell path is in my hands. I'll lure them here, then I'll kill them. Speaking of this, his palms slowly formed a seal. Then his eyes turned into a white light and looked into the distance. Found it on that mountain peak. Go. He waved his hand, and a white jade fan flew out, turning into an extremely terrifying light. At the same time, the immortal chi on his body turned into a clone, and together with the extreme weapon, rushed into the distance. Inside the villa, everyone was still in shock. Suddenly, at this moment, a ray of light streaked across the distance, and then turned into a hazy light figure. That light figure stood there like an immortal, looking down on the world. Countless feathers fell from his body. The falling petals were very beautiful. However, the aura on his body was extremely terrifying. It was like an ancient mountain pressing down. The people outside the villa immediately knelt on the ground. Their bodies trembled. Heavens, this power surpassed everything. What kind of power was this? It surpassed the half-emperor realm. Could it be a great emperor? Had the power of a great emperor come here? They kept kowtowing. The illusory figure lowered his head and stared down at Lin Xian. Then he said in a low voice, It was you who split open the power of the hell path. Since he dared to go against Higan, he would definitely die and go to hell. He waved his hand, and a bolt of lightning flew out from the light. Then a strong wind blew, and a storm swept out. A fan opened up between heaven and earth. Boom, the power of the extreme Tao burst out and swept across the place, shrouding the entire Qianquan. The mountains and rivers below continued to shatter. Not good. The overlord sea crocodile's expression changed drastically when he saw this. The people outside the villa were even crazier. There was no way they could withstand an attack from an extreme-grade weapon. Quite a number of people had already been reduced to a bloody mist. The eyes of Bailing and the plain-clothed old man were filled with despair. Who would have thought that the power of a god monarch would appear at the very end? Furthermore, it was an extreme Tao attack. Was he going to die? Their eyes were filled with despair. Lin Xian was also frowning. He said to the overlord sea crocodile next to him, Go and take them away. The overlord sea crocodile nodded and turned into a stream of light. He came to the plain-clothed old man and walked beside them. With a wave of his big claws, he took away all the remaining people. Boom. As soon as he left, the power of the extreme Tao enveloped him. The villa behind him was completely shattered. It turned into an endless black hole, bobbing up and down between heaven and earth. The overlord sea crocodile was also affected by this power, and his expression turned ugly. The others were even more desperate. They were already dead. Who would have thought that at the last moment, an ancient powerhouse would make a move? They knelt on the ground and kept thanking him. However, Bailing and the others were extremely nervous. They looked into the distance. Lin Gongzi had been hit by the power of a god monarch. Could he survive this time? Even the overlord sea crocodile's expression was solemn, because even he was not a god monarch. Therefore, he was not confident in his heart. He could see that Lin Xian was not a god monarch either. He only had the power that surpassed that of a quasi-emperor and a half-emperor. However, there was no real immortal chi or divine fire. So, could the other party withstand it? He was not confident either. In the sky, the white feather fan returned to the side of the god monarch's clone. The corners of the god monarch's clone's mouth curled up. That was a full-strength attack of the extreme Tao. Its power was extremely terrifying. It seemed that the other party had already been reduced to ashes. Whoosh, a storm blew over, and the scene in front of them appeared. Everyone looked over nervously. They saw a figure appear in the void that was full of cracks. It was Lin Gongzi. Bailing was the first to exclaim. The overlord sea crocodile also took a deep breath. He didn't die. He was relieved. The others also looked over. It was the masked man. However, the mask on his face had already been shattered. Countless exclamations sounded. However, what shocked them was that only the mask had been shattered. There didn't seem to be any injuries on the other party's body. Heavens, could it be that he had taken the attack of the extreme Tao? It was too unbelievable. Was this young man also a god monarch? In the sky, the god monarch's clone also frowned. What a young man! Under the mask was a young and handsome face. The other party was unscathed. The other party had actually blocked his extreme Tao attack. Who are you? The god monarch's clone said in a deep voice. Lin Xian raised his head and looked at the other party. He said, "You are great Emperor Baiyu, right? Long time no see." Hearing this, the god monarch's clone was even more shocked. "You've seen me before. Who are you?" Why didn't he remember that he had seen him before? Lin Xian sneered and didn't say anything. He had seen great Emperor Baiyu before. When he went to the other side of the world 100,000 years ago, a great emperor had appeared to save half a frog. However, he didn't succeed in the end. The great emperor who had descended back then was great Emperor Baiyu. Of course, it was possible that the other party didn't remember. After all, when he went back last time, he was still an ant in the eyes of the great emperor. The other party definitely wouldn't pay special attention to him. But now, it might not be so. Lin Xian walked out and said, "It doesn't matter if you don't know me, because you will know me soon. Remember my name. My name is Lin Wudi." After that, he clenched his hand into a fist and punched out. The golden fist was like the sun soaring into the sky. God, was this young man crazy? He wanted to attack the great emperor. How many lives did he have? Countless people were shocked. Some people exclaimed, "Lin Wudi!" He said he was Lin Wudi. What? So it was him. No wonder he was so powerful. He was the only one among the younger generation who dared to challenge the great emperor. "So, you're Lin Wudi." Great Emperor Baiyu's clone's face also darkened. How could he not know this name? You have gone against the other side of the world many times. You deserve to die. He also let out a furious roar and charged over with unparalleled power. The attacks of the two collided in the air. The terrifying aura swept across all directions. The sky fell, and the earth cracked as if the world was destroyed. Chapter 59:59. The terrifying battle, the destructive power, was still spreading. Then a figure was sent flying backward. It was the great emperor's clone. When countless people saw this scene, they were all stunned. Great Emperor Baiyu's clone retreated. Cracks appeared on his body, and some places had already turned into ashes. His face was full of shock and disbelief. How is this possible? How could your strength be so strong to such an extent? Lin Xian smiled. Nothing is impossible. Do you think that the great emperor is high and mighty? You don't understand my strength at all. I've fought with the great emperor more than once. I've even killed the great emperor. So, you only sent a clone here. How stupid. Great Emperor Baiyu's face became ugly. Was he careless this time? Originally, he thought that with his strength, sending a clone was enough to suppress everything. However, he didn't expect that he seemed to have miscalculated. It seemed that he had to ask the main body to come out. The doppelganger quickly retreated with the extreme grade weapon in hand. "Want to leave? Ask my sword if it agrees or not." Lin Xian directly took out the immortal slaying sword and slashed over. "How dare you?" Great Emperor Baiyu's clone roared. He picked up the white jade bone fan de bloc. At the same time, in the distant void, there was also a roar. How dare you hurt my clone? I'll make you suffer a fate worse than death. When the great emperor was angry, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Everyone's souls were about to be extinguished. They all looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian's reaction was very decisive. He ignored it. He slashed down with his sword. Puff! The great emperor's clone was split into two. The remaining power was also torn into pieces by the sword qi and dissipated. Even the apex weapon was sent flying, and the light on it dimmed. Was the great emperor's clone destroyed? Too arrogant. If I didn't see it with my own eyes, I really wouldn't have thought that a young man could be so terrifying. Everyone exclaimed. Even the overlord sea crocodile exclaimed, "This is going to war with the great emperor. You're courting death." In the next moment, a cold and heartless voice sounded. Countless worlds were destroyed, and the figure of a great emperor appeared. This was the true body of the great emperor. He was extremely powerful, and the immortal chi around him circled around the 9 heavens. It was as if an immortal had descended. Behind him, there were 2 beautiful women. He was dressed in white and black, holding a guqin and a cup of spirit tea. They were also frowning. The reason for that was because they had followed Martial Emperor Baiyu for many years, yet they had never seen Martial Emperor Baiyu suffer such a loss. They were also very curious. What kind of expert was he to be able to do this? When they saw Lin Xian, they were stunned. What a young face. Was this young man already so powerful? He wasn't a great emperor. He was not even a prime. His aura was only that of a quasi-emperor. How was it possible for such a person to exist? What about those who could slay the great emperor's clone? They could not understand. However, there was no need to think too much about it because there was only one outcome for offending Emperor Baiyu, and that was death. Emperor Baiyu also lowered his head. Stars flickered in his eyes as he stared at Lin Xian. To have such combat strength at such a young age, he was a peerless genius. I'll give you a chance. Kneel down and submit. Become my disciple and join the Nirvana realm. Then you can live. Otherwise, you will die. Choose one. I won't choose either one. Lin Xian held the immortal slaying sword in his hand, his body surging with killing intent. He looked up at the sky. His voice was like a sudden clap of thunder, spreading in all directions. Firstly, I won't join the Nirvana realm. Secondly, I won't die, because you can't kill me. His voice caused heaven and earth to shatter and the mountains and rivers to change. Countless people were stunned. Those young disciples clenched their fists. Idle, who dared to challenge the great emperor. But now, there was a young man who dared. Lin Xian did it. They didn't even dare to dream of it. Stupid thing. Since you want to die, then I'll send you to hell. Great Emperor Baiyu was enraged. He extended a palm and pressed it down. In his palm, stars flickered. Countless feathers danced in the air as if they had turned into a magical world. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly and waved his fist again. The 9 suns' divine fist was as bright as the real sun. In the next moment, the two collided. A rumbling sound was heard, and an earth-shattering power was heard. The golden fist and the white palm kept colliding. The sky collapsed, and the earth cracked. However, the result shocked everyone. They were evenly matched. The two were in a stalemate at the same time. In the sky, was his physique already the same as the great emperor's? The black-clothed woman in the sky also exclaimed, "This physique was like the sun. Could it be the legendary 9 suns' divine body?" The white-clothed woman was also surprised. A divine body couldn't be so powerful unless his divine body had reached the great success stage. Was he the 10-crown king? Their expressions became incomparably ugly. The appearance of the 10-crown king was too unpredictable, and the other party was the enemy of the Nirvana realm. They definitely couldn't let such a person live. Martial Monarch Bayou was well aware of this too. Thus he swung his other hand at Qin Nan. It made the sun, moon, and stars dim. Lin Xian roared and slashed out with the immortal slaying sword in his hand. The sword slashed out, turning into a shocking rainbow that split the sky and the earth. This sharp aura was enough to make everyone kneel down. Boom, boom. There was another fierce collision. That voice was capable of causing one's soul to crumble. Everyone fled in a frenzy. They retreated to an extremely far place, because if they didn't leave, the remaining power of that energy would be able to destroy their hearts and souls. Everything that Lin Xian had done was simply too powerful. He had actually managed to push back the Emperor's palm. The void shattered. Thousands of sword lights swept through the sky. Lin Xian roared, his voice shaking the sky. Then, another sword slash. It was incomparably vast. At the same time, the divine fire on his left hand kept jumping. It was like thousands of suns roaring between heaven and earth. It made everyone dumbfounded. Legend had it that the 10-crown king could fight a great emperor. Now, they finally saw it with their own eyes. Emperor Bayou was even more furious. 10-crown king? It's not like I haven't killed one before. In fact, I've killed more than one. Do you know the whereabouts of the past 10-crown kings? They were suppressed by my Permitha. For thousands of years, they had to endure the most miserable torture. Your fate is the same as theirs. You will live a life worse than death and fall into hell forever. Emperor Bayou roared at the sky. A pair of white wings appeared behind him, like an angel. It bloomed between heaven and earth. Then the pair of white wings danced crazily. Countless feathers turned into white divine swords. They came over in an overwhelming manner. The terrifying sword Qi was about to drown Lin Xian. The attack of a great emperor was also incomparably terrifying. This was the power of a great emperor's physique and immortal Qi. Everyone could only look up to this power. It would surpass everything and sweep across the universe. The overlord sea crocodile also retreated far away. Its brows were tightly knitted. It was no match for him at all, so it could only watch this battle. It wanted to see how Lin Xian would fight with a great emperor. Lin Xian raised his head to look at the sky. Seeing the powerful attack, he didn't dodge at all, because there was no room to dodge. He directly rushed over, holding the sword in his hand. His battle intent was monstrous. Since he wanted to fight, he would fight to his heart's content. Chapter 5960. The immortal slaying sword in his hand burst out with unparalleled light. It slashed towards the void and collided with the immortal spells that filled the sky. A deafening sound was heard, causing everyone's ears to bleed. Their faces were filled with horror. Quickly seal off your hearing. Boom, boom. After a single blow, the two were evenly matched, and Lin Xian once again waved the immortal slaying sword and slashed over. The immortal slaying sword wasn't big. Compared to the immortal spells that filled the sky, it seemed insignificant. However, the power that he unleashed wasn't weak at all. In fact, it was even stronger. The sword Qi on it carried a strong killing intent and an invincible super combat strength. Boom. The two collided again. The entire sky seemed to have been struck by the immortal slaying sword, and cracks appeared. It was like two gods of war were fighting. This time, Lin Xian's arm trembled. On the other side, Great Emperor Bayou also took 2 steps back. His eyes were filled with deep shock. He was actually forced back by the other party. It was too unbelievable. This kid must not be left alive. On the other side, Lin Xian snorted coldly. The dragon roar in his body sounded. He turned into a sword light and rushed over. He took the initiative to attack, shocking everyone. Great Emperor Bayou's face darkened. Was he underestimating him? He snorted coldly, as if a god was roaring. The immortal spells on his body kept condensing. The white feather fan appeared in his hand, and he waved it down fiercely. A monstrous storm swept out. This was the attack of an extreme weapon. Moreover, it was launched by a great emperor. It was terrifying to the extreme. The world below was torn into pieces by this storm. This power was really too terrifying. The spectators couldn't wait to kneel on the ground. This was the legendary battle of gods. Lin Xian snorted coldly. God of 9 suns. With a roar, his god of 9 suns completely erupted with brilliance. The 9 suns kept spinning. His figure kept growing bigger, as if he had turned into a golden god of war. He was 10,000 meters tall and stood upright. Endless light. With a wave of his hand, endless sun god fire flew out and turned into the fire of light. It fought against the other party's storm. The flames surged into the sky and shrouded the universe. The terrifying power collided again. The two forces spread in all directions. At this moment, Lin Xian waved his sword again. The immortal slaying sword also grew at this moment, as if it was a divine dragon. It slashed, heaven-defying sword breaking heaven and earth. With this slash of the sword, the storm in the sky was completely split into 2 halves. On top of that, the sword was slashing toward Martial Monarch Baiyu. Martial Monarch Baiyu's figure flickered as she dodged the attack. A pitch-black crack appeared where she was standing just a moment ago. This made Baiyu's expression. Lin Xian's Lin Xian. He said coldly, "You're a great monarch, but I know you have the Hell Dao. Hand over this power. You don't deserve to have it. Damnable brat, you actually dare to challenge me." Great Emperor Baiyu was infuriated. He snorted coldly and waved his hand. A pitch-black light surrounded his left hand. He sneered, "Since you want to see the power of the Hell Path, I'll show you. Hell Path, open the gates of hell for me." Great Emperor Baiyu roared. The power of the Hell Path changed completely. The black light quickly condensed and formed a black gate. It seemed to be connected to the 18 levels of hell. Finally, a deep roar could be heard from the inside. Then, a figure walked out from inside. He was wearing a blood-red armor. Although the armor was broken and there were cracks on his body, his aura was extremely terrifying. He held a blood-red long saber in his hand. 1/3 of the blade had been broken. However, it was still very sharp. This person had disheveled hair and looked very ferocious. As soon as he came out, he roared into the sky. The terrifying blood-red light swept out in all directions like a sea of blood. The entire sky was dyed red. So terrifying. Was this a powerhouse summoned by the Great Emperor? Why do I feel that he's not much weaker than the Great Emperor? The Hell Path was too terrifying. However, this was not the end. A second figure walked out. This figure was huge. It was a skeleton. This skeleton was different from the Bone Emperor. The Bone Emperor was a pink skeleton, but this skeleton was purple. The bones all over his body were like purple gems. They were extremely bright. After Lin Xian finished reading, his brows knitted together tightly. Was this the power of the Hell Path? It was indeed powerful. He had seen the Evil Spirit Path before. The Evil Spirit Path summoned souls, and the Hell Path summoned corpses. The second corpse, in particular, was a purple skeleton that gave Lin Xian a sense of familiarity. After the 2 behemoths walked out, they suppressed the world. This power was too powerful. It made countless spectators feel terrified. 3 against 1. Could Lin Wuyi still fight? This time, Bailing, the old man in linen, and the others' faces changed. They were extremely ugly. Even the Tyrant Sea crocodile said, "Young master, run." Although it knew that Lin Xian was powerful, that was in a one-on-one situation. Now it was 3 against 1. Lin Xian would definitely not be able to resist. Great Emperor Baiyu sneered, "Boy, have you seen it? This is the power of the Hell Path. Moreover, it was cast by me. Can you resist it? Obediently kneel down and surrender. You are no match for me at all." Lin Xian snorted coldly. "It's too early for you to be happy. Defeat me first. Although the two people you summoned are powerful, they are just corpses. Therefore, they can't exert their real combat power. They are still far from being able to deal with me. It seems that you won't shed tears until you see the coffin. Well, in that case, I will kill you with my own hands." "Do it." Great Emperor Baiyu, with the power of the Hell Path in hand, gave the order. In front of him, a figure in blood-red armor and a purple skeleton rushed over quickly. The figure in blood-red armor, with the blood-red long saber in his hand, suddenly slashed down with the power to split heaven and earth. In the face of such an attack, Lin Xian did not dodge at all. Instead, he charged forward together. The immortal slaying sword flew out to contend with the other party. The collision of the sword and saber swept across all directions. Heaven and earth were once again full of big cracks. After one blow, the blood-red armor retreated. However, he soon rushed over again. After all, he was just a corpse that was summoned, and only listened to orders. Therefore, he would not give up until he achieved his goal. Not good. If this continues, Lin Gongzi will be in danger. The old man in linen clothes and the others had ugly expressions. Bai Ling looked at the overlord Sea Crocodile and said, "Senior, you are an ancient powerhouse. Please help Lin Gongzi." The overlord Sea Crocodile's face turned green. He shook his head frantically. "Don't joke around. Little girl, although my strength is strong compared to them, I am indeed a lot weaker. I go up, but I can't do anything at all." The overlord Sea Crocodile did not care about ordinary half-emperors. However, the two figures that were summoned were obviously stronger than half-emperors. The overlord Sea Crocodile was no match for them, so he could only say, "Now, it's still not too late for Lin Gongzi to escape. Otherwise, he would be in danger if he was besieged by the three of them." "Escape?" Bai Ling raised her head and looked at the sky. "Will Lin Gongzi escape?" Boom. Suddenly, at this moment, a flash of light lit up in the sky. Then, a dragon's roar resounded in all directions. Everyone seemed to see a giant dragon, tens of thousands of meters long, slashing down from the sky. Then, the blood-red armor flew backward. The armor on his body was actually split open. Chapter 5961. Heavens, what did I just see? The blood-colored armor was actually sent flying. The armor on his body was actually shattered. Even the ancient crocodile and the others were shocked. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Xian was in danger and could only escape. But in the next moment, Lin Xian seriously injured an enemy. This combat strength was a little terrifying. Even Great Emperor Baiyu's expression changed. He summoned this blood-colored figure. He knew very well how terrifying its strength was. This was the body of a dead supreme, although it didn't have a soul, and its combat strength wasn't at its peak. It couldn't be injured so easily. However, in 2 moves, it was almost split apart by Lin Xian. Damn it! The sword in this kid's hand was too sharp. This was the power of the great dragon sword soul. This kind of power, in the hands of the other party, had it become so powerful? Great Emperor Baiyu's expression was incomparably ugly. It seemed that he couldn't wait any longer. He continued to activate the Hell Path and gave the order, "Attack together." On the other side, the purple skeleton also walked out. The purple light on its body illuminated the world. "Kill." On the other side, the blood-colored figure also rushed over. Although the armor on his body was shattered, he didn't seem to care about life and death. The two figures attacked together, forcing Lin Xian to retreat. Lin Xian spat out a mouthful of blood. Not good. Lin Gongzi was in danger. Bai Ling and the others exclaimed. As for the others, their scalps went numb. Was Lin Wuyi going to fall today? After all, the two powerhouses had swept through everything. Moreover, There was still Great Emperor Baiyu, who didn't participate in the battle. After Lin Xian spat out a mouthful of blood, his face darkened. Interesting. You have already made my blood boil. I haven't experienced such an exciting battle for a long time. I hope you won't let me down. He looked up to the sky and laughed. He wasn't afraid. Instead, his blood boiled. The sword in his hand shone even more brightly. In his body, the great dragon sword soul roared and went all out. The divine body erupted with power. The god of 9 suns rushed towards the purple figure. The immortal slaying, sword slashed at the crimson armor. Lin Xian charged to the front and engaged in a fierce battle with the 2 powerhouses. His momentum was extremely shocking. Were they evenly matched? That was impossible, right? This was too strong. His physique contended against one person while his swordsmanship contended against the other. They were actually evenly matched. Not only that, but Lin Xian also used a new divine ability. The Taiji diagram appeared and spun continuously. He charged toward the blood-red figure. After all, this corpse had already been injured by him. Therefore, he looked weaker. The Taiji diagram was a fusion of yin and yang. The laws of yin and yang completely erupted. It was as if it had turned into a kunpeng soaring between heaven and earth. In an instant, the bloody figure was sent flying again. However, at this moment, the purple skeleton charged over. The sky above his head was purple. Grabbing it in his hand, he brought it down viciously. He was going to use a piece of heaven to crush Lin Xian. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly. His sword chi swept out and turned into countless sword lights. Then it turned into 24 giant dragons. These 24 giant dragons were like dragon pillars. They stood tall and blocked the purple sky. Then he threw out a punch and collided with the purple skeleton. The purple skeleton took a few steps back. The light on it kept shaking. Boom! The purple skeleton's murderous aura suddenly erupted and swept out in all directions. This murderous aura was twice as strong as before. It made everyone's hair stand on end. Even Great Emperor Baiyu was taken aback. In the next moment, the corners of his mouth curled up into a cold smile. The purple skeleton rushed over again. Like lightning, it attacked Lin Xian fiercely. Immortal technique, heavenly dragon lock. The immortal chi seed in Lin Xian's left eye kept spreading. His palm approached. Suddenly, the great dragon sword chi danced between heaven and earth and turned into a giant dragon. Like a dragon-shaped chain, it rushed toward the purple skeleton. A total of 72 chains bound the purple skeleton in midair, forming a powerful seal. The purple skeleton let out a crazy roar. He fought against these dragon-shaped chains and seemed to be unwilling to stop until he died. Everyone was stunned. It was so powerful. Lin Xian said, "I know who you are. You're Great Emperor Ziluo. I didn't expect you to be so miserable. You're dead, but you're still being used by Higan." What? Great Emperor Ziluo? After hearing this, the spectators were stunned. Didn't Great Emperor Ziluo die before? Legend has it that he was killed by Lin Wudi. Could it be that this purple skeleton is Great Emperor Ziluo? God, this is too unbelievable. Someone exclaimed. Someone else said, "Yes, I heard that Higan wanted to take away Great Emperor Ziluo's body. She also had a big battle with an unknown existence. Although she succeeded in the end, it was conceivable that more than one person wanted to take Great Emperor Ziluo's body. It turned out that the body of a great emperor had such a use. After death, it could also form a super strong combat power. Have I been discovered?" Great Emperor Baiyu frowned. However, he soon sneered and waved the white feather fan in his hand, creating thousands of storms that formed wind blades. They shattered the dragon-shaped chains. With a wave of his hand, He controlled the blood-red figure and the purple skeleton to walk over again. This time, he was going to do it himself. Lin Wuti, I have to admit that you're really smart and powerful. You're a rare top genius that I've seen. If a person like you grows up in Higan, you'll have unlimited potential. It won't be a problem for you to become a great emperor. You might even become an immortal in the future. However, it's a pity that you're Higan's enemy, so I can't let you live anymore. Any last words? Stay. Because this time, I don't plan to give you another chance. After hearing this, Lin Xian laughed. Do you really think you can kill me? Great Emperor Baiyu sneered. Nonsense, 3 against 1. It'll be strange if you don't die. You're too confident. Do you really think it's 3 against 1? To be honest, your path of hell is powerful. When you summon the corpse of a great emperor, your combat power is super strong. However, he has a weakness. These 2 corpses don't have souls, right? So what? Great Emperor Baiyu shook his head and sneered. They don't have souls and can't reach their peak state. However, it's enough to deal with you. Lin Xian said, You're wrong. This isn't a problem of peak state. It's that the corpses without souls can only be controlled by you. Your soul is divided into 3. Don't you think it's dangerous? Especially when facing a soul expert like me. Do you think you're the only one who has the power of the 6 paths? Lin Xian's Rinnegan suddenly erupted. A powerful reincarnation force swept in all directions. The 6 paths of reincarnation reappeared in the world. You, Rinnegan. Great Emperor Baiyu was shocked. He didn't expect that the other party actually had an eye. It was the Rinnegan. Boom. In the next moment, his expression changed drastically. He retreated, cold sweat dripping down. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Just because he made eye contact with the other party? Damn it, he's using the power of the Rinnegan to attack my soul. Behind him, the woman in black and the woman in white also exclaimed after seeing this, Great Emperor, are you okay? They really didn't expect that. Great Emperor Baiyu was injured. Chapter 5962. Everyone was stunned. What did they see? Lin Xian hit Great Emperor Baiyu with just a glance. It was too unbelievable. Were they dreaming? Overlord Sea Crocodile shook his head and said, No, that's not an ordinary eye. That's Rinnegan. Moreover, the power of the 6 paths above was extremely terrifying. No wonder this guy was so calm when facing the path of hell. Rinnegan? Everyone was shocked. This was the legendary eye. They didn't expect Lin Wuti to have such a magical eye. After opening the Rinnegan, Lin Xian sneered. Now, do you think you're still my match? You still want to kill me? I think you should save your soul first. Damn it. Great Emperor Baiyu covered his head. His expression was ferocious. He gave the order, Kill for me. At the same time, he placed the path of hell on his forehead to protect his soul. He even dared to divide his soul into 3 parts. I think you're courting death. Lin Xian snorted coldly, Path of heaven, the hand of heaven. In the sky, a reincarnation eye appeared, and a few palms stretched out from it. One of them slapped towards the blood-colored figure, and the other slapped towards the purple skeleton. Although others couldn't see the mystery behind it, Lin Xian knew that these 2 figures had some kind of soul connection with Great Emperor Baiyu. The hand of heaven could break this kind of soul connection. Bang! 2 low voices sounded. Then, the movements of the 2 figures became slow. In the end, they stopped in midair like statues. Great Emperor Baiyu's eyes were red. He had suffered another soul attack. He roared at the sky. You're courting death. The wings on his back danced. He turned into a bolt of lightning and rushed over quickly. His palms formed a seal, and the 2 wings seemed to have turned into heavenly blades, slashing down fiercely. At the same time, the path of hell between his eyebrows also erupted with an extremely terrifying light. He even wanted to control Lin Xian's body. Facing the wings of the other party, Lin Xian used the immortal slaying sword to block. Lin Xian coldly snorted. His 9-yang divine body blossomed with radiance that swept through everything. At the same time, he said, "You're so stupid to want to control my body. In the human Tao, I am the master." The power of the 6 paths surged into Lin Xian's body, forming 6 sets of armor. At this moment, Lin Xian seemed to have transformed into the god of the 6 Daos, the ruler of the world. 6 paths of reincarnation fist. Boom! Lin Xian's fist punched out. It was as if he was carrying a 6 Daos world with him as he charged forward. Great Emperor Baiyu was sent flying and spat out another mouthful of blood. His expression became extremely unsightly. "You actually know the 6 paths of reincarnation fist. Damn it, how many Rinnegan have you mastered?" Lin Xian sneered and ignored him. He said, "Your Hell Dao is mine. Stay here." After saying that, he continued to activate the Rinnegan. The hand of the heavens in the sky fell again. This time, it attacked Great Emperor Baiyu. Great Emperor Baiyu felt his soul shake. He roared, and an extremely terrifying light rushed out from the Hell Dao. 2 large white bone palms rushed out and slapped over to block. At this moment, Lin Xian charged over again. The 6 paths of reincarnation fist kept attacking. They were all the power of the 6 paths, but the other party's power of the 6 paths seemed to be too strong. "Damn it, I'm going to take your eyes." Great Emperor Baiyu roared. He didn't stay in the east, but rushed over. His speed was fast to the extreme. This pair of wings seemed to give him the fastest speed in the world. In the blink of an eye, he was right in front of Lin Xian and reached out with his hand to grab Lin Xian's eye. He wanted to snatch the Rinnegan. When he saw this scene, the Overlord Sea Crocodile's expression changed. "Not good." Great Emperor Baiyu's speed was too fast. "Kid, I'll take your eyes." Great Emperor Baiyu sneered. However, at this moment, Lin Xian snorted coldly. "It wasn't easy to hurt you before. But this time, you delivered yourself to me. I'll let you see the true power of the Rinnegan." Summoned the reincarnation sword. In Lin Xian's eyes, the power of the 6 paths condensed. Then, the phantom of a long sword appeared between heaven and earth. It slashed directly at Great Emperor Baiyu. Great Emperor Baiyu's expression changed drastically. The aura of the 6 paths seemed to be even more terrifying. He quickly retreated, but it was still too late. One of his arms was slashed by the phantom of the reincarnation sword, and his entire body retreated. He fell to the ground and spat out a large mouthful of blood. At the same time, one of his arms drooped down. Although his body wasn't injured, he felt that the power that belonged to his soul on his arm had been cut off. Damn it! How was this possible? You can actually summon the phantom of the reincarnation sword. He was crazy. Lin Xian looked down from above and shouted coldly, "Do you still think that you're my opponent?" He descended towards the ground. "Not good," the black and white woman exclaimed. "Great Emperor, be careful." The 2 of them rushed over, but they were sent flying by Lin Xian's palm. The 2 of them were no match for him at all. Looking at the figure rushing down, Great Emperor Baiyu's expression also turned ugly. In the end, he gritted his teeth, and a hint of coldness appeared in his eyes. "Attack." He gave another order. Immediately, a blood-red figure and a purple skeleton rushed out. The 2 of them came to Lin Xian's side and created 2 cages, trapping Lin Xian tightly. Heaven and earth were sealed. Great Emperor Baiyu sneered. "Kid, you can stay there for now. When I recover my strength, I'll come and kill you." Great Emperor Baiyu took out a spirit pill and swallowed it. The immortal qi on his body instantly erupted. The powerful medicinal effect began to restore his strength. Not good. It's dangerous. Lin Gongzi was still going to be defeated. Countless people exclaimed. bailing, and the others were extremely nervous. The sea crocodile also said, in terms of foundation, the heavenly king is much stronger. Lin Xian sneered. Surrounded by the two figures, he didn't seem to dodge. At the same time, his Rinnegan looked down again. Do you really think you can recover? Great Emperor Baiyu snorted coldly. Kid, you're already sealed. Can you still escape? He quickly absorbed the power of the pill. But at this moment, the ground under his feet suddenly cracked open, and two large stone hands grabbed him. Then he was suppressed under the ground. Boom! Great Emperor Baiyu spat out blood again, as if he was struck by lightning. His eyes almost popped out. How was this possible? You're already sealed. How could you still attack me? How could you hurt me? He was crazy. What kind of power was this? The corner of Lin Xian's mouth raised, and he said coldly, Reincarnation path. The sea turns into mulberry fields. What? You still have the power of the path. Great Emperor Baiyu was really crazy. Were the three paths of heaven, earth, and human all controlled by the other party? Damn it. He felt that the ground under his feet had changed. The sea turned into mulberry fields, as if it was going to bury him. No. He roared crazily, wanting to rush out. However, this was not an ordinary power. This was the power of the path. Great Emperor Baiyu could only resist with all his strength. Helpless, he withdrew all his soul. He used the hell path to resist. Only then was he able to block it. However, his soul had already been withdrawn, and the two figures in the sky stopped again. Lin Xian successfully rushed out. He held the great dragon sword in his hand and stabbed down fiercely. Heaven-defying sword technique. Heavenly dragon thrust. Chapter 59-63. Boom. Between heaven and earth, a sword light flickered, and everyone's bodies seemed to have been split apart. Immediately after, countless dragon roars sounded, surrounding the 9 heavens. Everyone saw that this sword seemed to have transformed into a heavenly dragon, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws as it rushed down from the sky. Not good. Great Emperor Baiyu's face turned green. He had been desperately fighting against the tunnel. He had just blocked it and didn't have time to react. This sword stabbed down. It was too fast. The other party's combat experience and skills were too strong. He didn't look like a young man at all. Instead, he looked like an old monster who had been through hundreds of battles. Block it for me. At the critical moment, Great Emperor Baiyu enlarged the white feather fan in his hand. Like a sky curtain, the immortal chi on his body kept erupting, and feathers danced in the sky. Boom! The heavenly dragon stab descended. An earth-shattering, great destruction occurred below. A wave of power swept out. Retreat quickly. The spectators retreated frantically. This was a destructive blow. They were all sent flying. The black and white women in the sky also exclaimed. They also retreated frantically. When they came to the distance, their faces were full of nervousness. I wonder how the great emperor is doing. On the other side, Bai Ling, the old man in linen, and the others were also nervous. The ancient crocodile's eyes also bloomed with a biting cold light. It stared carefully ahead, then shook its head. No, I can't see clearly. I can only wait. Finally, the light in front of them dimmed a little. Everyone looked carefully. The sea crocodile was the first to exclaim, God, no way. What happened? Everyone was curious. Not long after, they saw the heavenly dragon piercing through heaven and earth. At the same time, a figure was nailed to the ground. That figure was in great pain, letting out a miserable roar. It was the Great Emperor Baiyu. Was he pierced through? Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. They really didn't expect that the one who lost this battle would be Great Emperor Baiyu. Lin Xian held the immortal slaying sword in his hand, surrounded by the dragon soul. A sword pierced through the other party, nailing him to the ground. At the same time, there were a few wounds on his body. It made his bones appear. This was an extreme Dao weapon, pierced through by the feather, but it didn't injure any vital parts. Lin Xian held the immortal slaying sword in his right hand and stretched out his left hand. The power of the six paths appeared. He grabbed the Hell Dao and said, "I'll take this." The Naraka path wanted to resist, but it was suppressed by the Rinnegan. The corners of Lin Xian's lips curled up. Great, what an unexpected reward. He had finally obtained the Hell Path. He had seen this thing in the Soul Emperor's possession, but in the end, it was snatched away by the half-frog. But now it was finally back in his hands. If he could fuse with the power of the Purgatory Path, his Rinnegan would become even more powerful. Crack! A shattering sound rang out. Great Emperor Baiyu's body suddenly split into two halves. Then they turned into two laser beams and fled. Lin Xian frowned and didn't give chase. Great Emperor Baiyu was best at speed. His extreme speed was much faster than his. Now the other party was burning his blood and life to escape. He probably couldn't catch up. Moreover, he knew that Great Emperor Baiyu wasn't the only one in this place. There were other great emperors on the other side. So he didn't chase after them. He was already very satisfied with this battle. He seriously injured a great emperor and snatched the Hell Path. He dealt a blow to the Heavenly King's momentum and made him invincible. Everything was perfect. The great emperor was defeated. Did the great emperor escape? The black and white women in the sky were also scared silly. In the next moment, they turned around and ran. Instead, they gradually sank into the darkness with the blood-red figure and the purple skeleton. In the void, a gate of hell swallowed them up, and they disappeared without a trace. "Let's go!" Lin Xian waved his hand, and the law descended. He left with the linen-clothed old man and the others. The overlord sea crocodile also rose into the air and followed. The group disappeared into the sky. Heavens, the earth had been defeated. Only then did the spectators come to their senses. Lin Wudi defeated the great emperor and snatched the Hell Path. His Rinnegan was already so terrifying. Coupled with the Hell Path, how terrifying was it? Was his current combat strength already more powerful than a great emperor's? He was a quasi-emperor. He was the 10-crown king. Legend had it that the 10-crown king was mysterious and powerful. Now, it seemed that the rumors were true. Great Emperor Baiyu was a true great emperor. Her soul was complete, her body was complete, but she was still defeated by him. If he could become a great emperor with the 10-crown king's cultivation base, then he would be a supreme existence among the great emperors. Countless cries of surprise rang out. This battle was simply too shocking. The news quickly spread. Countless people were shocked. Lin Xian's battle record had created another glorious record. On the other side, Lin Xian came to a place where there was no one. He said, "Wait for me. I need to recover. Protect me." Lin Xian sat down cross-legged. He was also injured in this battle. Great Emperor Baiyu was more powerful than the previous half-frog and Great Emperor Ziluo. This was a complete great emperor. However, he had still won. This made him very happy. It seemed that he could completely compete with a true great emperor. He could even defeat these great emperors. Of course, he knew that there was more than one great emperor on the other side. He had to continue working hard. It would be best if he could break through with the 10-crown king's cultivation base and become a great emperor. Then he would be able to sweep through all the great emperors. Lin Xian had the sword world, so his foundation was not bad at all. He moved out resources from this world to recover. Originally, his vital parts were not injured, so Lin Xian recovered very quickly. In less than 2 days, he had recovered. This scene made the overlord sea crocodile dumbfounded after seeing it. This recovery speed was too fast. It was simply heaven-defying. This young man was covered in fog. It was unimaginable. He was like a god. After recovering, Lin Xian did not immediately take action. Instead, he prepared to refine the hell path. It was not easy to obtain this thing. He had to quickly master this power. Firstly, with the hell path, the power of his 6 paths of reincarnation would increase, and the power of his Rinnegan would also increase. Moreover, the hell path had other uses. That was, it could summon the corpses of powerhouses. He had seen this point from Great Emperor Baiyu. It was indeed very strong. Although there was a flaw, the soul had to be divided into several parts. The answer was already very scary. If Lin Xian did not have the Rinnegan, it would be very difficult for him to use this flaw to break the other side. In other words, the other great emperors could only turn around and run when facing the powerhouses summoned by the hell path. And if he could master it with his soul power and Rinnegan, he would definitely be stronger than Great Emperor Baiyu. Thinking of this, Lin Xian could not wait to take out the hell path. The hell path wanted to resist, but there was a soul imprint left by the Permitha on it. Lin Xian used the Rinnegan to envelop it, and the great dragon sword spirit was destroyed. He began to suppress the hell path. Then he absorbed the power of the hell path. Just like that, Lin Xian began to cultivate. The surrounding people were also waiting quietly. However, outside, a storm was already brewing. Countless people were shocked when they heard the news of this battle. Chapter 5964. There were no clouds in the sky for thousands of miles. A white light flashed across and landed in the mountain range. The next moment, it let out a miserable roar. "Damn you, Linwoody! I will never let you go!" The voice carried endless power, causing the surrounding sky and earth to shatter. The people on the other side were all stunned. They walked out of the surrounding palaces and pavilions. They knelt on the ground. "Great Emperor Baiyu, what's wrong?" They could tell that the voice belonged to martial monarch Baiyu. What was it? What could make a great emperor so angry? Great Emperor Baiyu roared and said, "Bring me pills. I want pills for healing and recovery. Go. If you're too slow, I'll kill you." The people around were so scared that their scalps went numb. They hurriedly went to prepare the pills. Soon, the pills were delivered to him. Great Emperor Baiyu swallowed them. His broken body began to heal. The immortal qi on his body continued to spread. Viciousness and crazy anger appeared in his eyes. He would definitely take revenge. Great Emperor Baiyu was seriously injured and began to recover. On the other side, Lin Xian also opened his eyes. At this moment, his Rinnegan became more and more mysterious. From the 3 powers of heaven, earth, and man, there was another power. That was the power of the hell path. Next, Lin Xian began to try the power of the hell path. He also wanted to see if he could summon some corpses for his own use. After all, what he summoned were all incomparably powerful corpses. He could even summon the corpses of great emperors. Lin Xian used the power of the hell path. The Rinnegan I bloomed. In front of him, a gate of hell was formed. It was incomparably dark, and a cold aura spread out. In the distance, the ancient crocodile, the linen-clothed old man, and Bai Ling felt this aura. Their expressions changed drastically. They were terrified. Was the gate of hell open? The ancient crocodile walked nearby and exclaimed, "It's so scary. I really feel that it connects to the 18 levels of hell. Should I go in and take a look?" Before he could do anything, the gate of hell in front of him suddenly closed. The 2 pitch-black gates formed an evil ghost head. He said in a deep voice, "Who is it?" It opened again, the reincarnation of hell. "It's me," Lin Xian replied in a deep voice. The evil ghost head glanced at Lin Xian in surprise. "It's you. That can't be right. You weren't the one who wielded this power last time. Did the otherworld heavenly king change again? Do you have the token of the Nirvana Lord?" "No." Lin Xian shook his head. "I'm not from Higan. I have the purgatory Tao. Don't tell me I can't use your power? Lin Xian's face darkened. The evil ghost's head was also surprised. It's not someone from the Nirvana realm. Could it be that the Naraka realm has been taken away? His face was full of shock. Then he said, "No, you have the Hell Path. You can borrow the power of the Hell Path. However, there are some corpses that you might not be able to summon. The corpses of some of the great emperors and paragons were under the Higgins' control. Even if you obtain the Path of Hell, you won't be able to use these corpses. Of course, there are other corpses in Hell that you can use. They were actually controlled by the Higgin." Lin Xian frowned. "Can I use it by force?" The evil ghost's head shook his head. "That's between you and the Higgin. I won't interfere." After he finished speaking, the pitch-black door opened again. "Now, you can use the power of the Hell Path." Lin Xian's gaze entered the pitch-black door. The next moment, he felt as if he had returned to the world of hell. There were countless evil ghosts, mountains of corpses, and white bones buried everywhere. A gloomy and cold aura swept towards him. However, Lin Xian had the power of the Hell Path. Therefore, when these evil spirits approached, they all prostrated on the ground in fear. They kept kowtowing to Lin Xian. These evil spirits belonged to the soul. They were the powers summoned by the evil ghost path. The Hell Path summoned corpses. Lin Xian waved his hand. Suddenly, he felt that the few white bones next to him prostrated at his feet and could be used by him. However, Lin Xian was not satisfied. The power of these white bones was not very strong. It was useless for him to summon them. He continued to walk. Not long after, he saw some powerful coffins stored there. The bronze coffins were incomparably thick and heavy. There was an extremely terrifying seal on them. On the coffins, Lin Xian could feel that there were incredible figures buried inside. Perhaps they were the corpses of great emperors and paragons. He found one. However, he found that the seal could not be opened at all. There was a terrifying immortal chi on it. The power of the immortal chi was much more terrifying than that of great Emperor Baiyu. It seemed that it should be left behind by the even more terrifying great Emperor of the Higgin. These corpses were all sealed by the Higgin. Other than the Higgin, no one else could use them. Even if they used the Hell Path, it would not work. The Higgin was really good. As expected of the supreme existence that dominated the ancient times, Lin Xian did not act rashly. If he forcefully broke the seal now, it would be troublesome. Firstly, it was very troublesome. It required limitless power, and it might not succeed. More importantly, it was very likely to alarm the Higgin. Therefore, after thinking about it, Lin Xian gave up. That was because he had thought of another place. Perhaps that place had what he needed. Although he could not summon the corpses of great emperors for the time being, Lin Xian's Rinnegan had been strengthened. It could also be used. The power of the Hell Path was also a huge improvement for him. Thinking of this, Lin Xian retracted the power of reincarnation. He retreated from the gate of hell. How was it? When they saw Lin Xian walk out, they saw the old man. They asked about the ancient crocodile. Lin Xian said, "It's more troublesome than I thought. However, it doesn't affect me much." He looked at the linen-clothed old man and said, "You guys rest for a while. When I come out again, we will go and look for the evil ghost path." After the old man heard this, he quickly rested and recovered. Lin Xian disappeared again. This time, he entered the sword world. Wasn't it just the corpses of great emperors? So what if the corpses of those powerhouses in hell were sealed by the Higgin? Lin Xian still had a place where he could dig out the corpses of mysterious powerhouses. That was the sword world. The sword world was an ancient place. Lin Xian had dug out the universe ring and the immortal slaying sword from here. There were definitely endless secrets buried here. Moreover, they were all buried under the earth. After Lin Xian came in, he ate a few spirit fruits and felt refreshed. At the same time, He continued to walk towards the depths of the sword world. He remembered that he had seen a valley before. There was a mysterious power in the valley. His 9-yang divine body was cultivated in that valley. This time, he came to the valley again. The Sun Valley was like thousands of suns that had fallen into the mortal world. Lin Xian now. Even though his divine body had reached large success, he still felt a sense of pressure. However, last time, he was only outside the valley. This time, Lin Xian finally had the ability to enter the valley. Lin Xian took a deep breath and began to search. Sure enough, he found a palm inside, a broken palm. Golden light surrounded this palm, carrying a powerful flame power. To be able to remain in this valley, it was definitely the palm of a super powerhouse. It was very likely that it was at the Great Emperor level. Therefore, Lin Xian quickly used the Hell Path. It enveloped the palm. Let's see if I can use it. Chapter 59-65. The palm in front of him moved slightly. There was hope. Lin Xian was overjoyed. He operated his Rinnegan with all his strength and gave all his power to the Hell Dao. The Hell Dao completely erupted with power. The palm floated in the void. Lin Xian felt that his soul could attach to it and control it. He tried it. Its power was not weaker than a strike from a great emperor. Furthermore, the flames on the palm were extremely terrifying. It was even more terrifying than his 9 sons' divine fire. If it attacked, it could definitely severely injure a great emperor. At that thought, Lin Xian's lips curled up into a smile. Another trump card. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian walked out of the Sun Valley. He had already established a connection with this palm. He only needed to open the Hell Dao during battle to summon it. In addition, Lin Xian had another idea. He had an emperor bone here. It was the founder of the Yuhua immortal dynasty, a terrifying emperor. The other party's strength must be extremely terrifying even among the great emperors. Therefore, Lin Xian wanted to see if he could use his bone. After finding the emperor bone, Lin Xian used the Hell Dao to envelop it. He was ready to investigate. However, the emperor bone bounced the Hell Dao away. At the same time, an extremely terrifying aura spread out. It seemed to be resisting. Lin Xian was surprised. It didn't work. He refused to give up. After all, the emperor bone was an extremely terrifying powerhouse when he was alive. If he was able to use his bones, the power of his attacks would increase exponentially. However, he tried a few times, but it didn't work. The third time, a voice came from the bone. It was like a thunderclap. Who was it? How dare you use my power? Are these people in hell tired of living? Lin Xian's ears hurt, and his blood and qi roiled. He was too shocked. This emperor bone was too mysterious. He hurriedly said to the bone, "Senior, please calm down. I didn't mean to offend you." Then, Lin Xian quickly took out the longevity lamp. He held it in his hand. The light of the longevity lamp flickered. Sensing this power, the overwhelming aura of the emperor bone slowly disappeared. Finally, it landed on the ground. After Lin Xian picked it up, he breathed a sigh of relief. The emperor bone was too terrifying. The emperor bone was definitely an unimaginable super powerhouse when he was alive. How would he compare to that immortal? Lin Xian knew that there was a powerhouse on the other side called the virtual immortal, calling himself an immortal. I wonder if he's stronger than the venerable sovereign. From the looks of it, he couldn't summon the imperial venerate bone. However, to be able to summon the imperial venerate bone from the Sun Valley, that palm was already considered very good. Moreover, he could continue searching in the sword world. If he could dig out the corpses of other powerhouses, he could use the Hell Dao again. He was. Let's go. He clapped his hands and the ancient crocodile suddenly grew bigger. He said, "I'll take you there." The group climbed onto the ancient crocodile's back. Then, the crocodile turned into a stream of light and flew into the distance. It stopped at the place where Lin Xian lost track of it last time. Lin Xian said, "I couldn't sense its aura the last time I chased it here. Your soul has been summoned by it before, so I want your soul to sense it again." The plain-clothed old man nodded after hearing this. The next moment, his glabella split open and a figure walked out. This figure was even older. After he came out, he sat there cross-legged. He whispered, and there seemed to be a mysterious sound of the great Tao. Not long after, he opened his eyes. The soul pointed down and said, "I feel it. The power that summoned me before is below. Just below." Lin Xian was surprised. "I didn't expect it to be so close." After he landed, he slashed the ground with his sword. The ground was split open and a crack appeared. This scene shocked the ancient crocodile. One had to know that this was no ordinary place. This was the celestial heavens. How difficult was it to create a crack in this place? It took him all his strength to open a small crack. Now Lin Xian could split it open with a single slash. This kind of monstrous combat power was really shocking. Lin Xian didn't think so much. After splitting it open, he looked down. Then he furrowed his brows tightly. The ancient crocodile was also surprised. "There's nothing?" They all looked at the old man in linen. The old man in linen said, "It can't be wrong. I can feel it. It's just below." "Young master, use your Rinnegan to feel it. Use the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation." After Lin Xian settled down, he nodded his head. From the looks of it, this should be a mysterious place. He integrated the power of the divine fire seed into the Rinnegan. In the next moment, the Rinnegan became even more powerful. The power of the 6 paths of reincarnation was activated. It formed an illusion of the 6 paths of reincarnation that shrouded the area below. Then, the cracked earth started to tremble violently. From below, a crack appeared. This crack was parallel to the crack that Lin Xian cut open with his sword energy. However, it seemed to be completely different. A huge mountain was slowly rising from the crack. However, only a few mountains appeared before it stopped. Most of them were still under the ground. Great, it appeared. The ancient crocodile was overjoyed. The old man also breathed a sigh of relief. He had finally found it, and his mission had been completed. Lin Xian was also overjoyed, but in the next moment, his expression changed. "Oh no." He cast the array formation seal format, but it couldn't seal it at all. The power of the 6 paths came from this mountain peak, like a sharp heavenly sword, piercing through the clouds and directly piercing through heaven and earth, and it spread to the surroundings. Lin Xian originally planned to explore this place himself. After all, this place was related to the evil spirit realm. Moreover, it was the legendary 6 paths of reincarnation. Perhaps there was a fragment of the reincarnation sword. How could he have possibly spread the news? But this time, the result was beyond his expectations. The mountain peak directly emitted an aura. The others would definitely come after sensing it. And he couldn't stop the whole process at all. The ancient 6 paths of reincarnation? What a mysterious person. At this moment, those in the upper heavens all sensed it. They looked into the distance. Someone exclaimed, "Heavens, what is that? Why do I feel a pillar of light that reaches the sky?" There is also the illusion of a mountain. That is the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation. Heavens, what has appeared? Countless people were shocked. Some supremes and some great emperors were shocked. The power of reincarnation made them happy. "Let's go and take a look." One figure after another quickly rushed over. At the same time, in a mountain range, Great Emperor Baiyu also opened his eyes. An extremely terrifying aura burst out from his eyes. What a terrifying 6 paths of reincarnation. This time, I must not miss it. He soared into the sky and flew over. Chapter 5966. Oh no! This will alert the other emperors. The ancient crocodile's expression changed drastically. It looked at Lin Xian and said, "Sir, aren't you going to stop them?" Lin Xian said, "It's useless. The scene here is beyond our imagination. We can't stop it." They couldn't stop it. Everyone was even more shocked. It seemed that they were about to face a huge battle. I wonder what the scene will be like. Lin Xian stood there with his hands behind his back. The reason for that was because he could sense that this mountain was extremely mysterious. It wasn't time to go in yet. The sound of something breaking through the air came from the sky. In the next moment, a figure rushed over. This person was wearing a black robe and exuded a terrifying black aura. The immortal martial monarch also had a mysterious black flame dancing on his body. The monstrous aura of a great emperor swept across the land, frightening the ancient crocodile and the others. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes when he saw the other party. He was no stranger to this person. The immortal supremacy had broken the seal and become a great emperor. They had fought many times and were very familiar with each other. The immortal supremacy saw Lin Xian and exclaimed, "Did you create the power of the 6 paths?" He was too shocked. Damn it, it was this kid again. He was filled with killing intent, but he didn't act rashly. He wasn't in a good state now. Although the seal had been broken, his immortal heart had been snatched away by the demon emperor. He wasn't in peak condition now. "Kid, just you wait. I'll take revenge for what happened before." The immortal emperor said coldly. Lin Xian sneered. "You?" His eyes were filled with disdain. The ancient crocodile said, "Save it." The emperor of the Permitha realm was defeated by the Sir. "Not to mention, you're an injured person. I advise you to run away now or kneel on the ground and kowtow to admit your mistake. You might be able to live if you do that. You're courting death. How dare you be so arrogant in front of me?" The immortal emperor roared. His eyes were filled with a terrifying killing intent that pierced through the heavens and earth. He charged at the ancient crocodile. The ancient crocodile was shocked. However, Lin Xian waved his sleeve, and a vortex appeared, devouring all of the energy. He said, "You think you can teach my men a lesson?" He was right. Either get lost or kneel down and submit. What an arrogant fellow. At this moment, another voice came from the sky. Following that, a desolate aura filled the air, causing the surroundings to become desolate. The spirit sovereign had also come. He was with the immortal emperor, standing side by side in the sky. They were like two deities trying to suppress everything. This made the ancient crocodile nervous. "Can young master deal with it?" Lin Xian said, "These two have both been defeated by me. There's nothing to be afraid of. You have a sharp tongue. You're courting death." The eyes of the immortal martial monarch and the spiritual supremacy flickered as they prepared to make their moves. However, at this moment, another ray of light rushed over. It was Bayu Nali. Martial monarch Bayu descended from the sky like an angel. Her holy light shone in all directions. However, when she saw Lin Xian, she roared, "Kid, you're here? Go to hell." She raised her hand and slapped down. Lin Xian struck out with endless light to fight against it. The two forces swept out in all directions. Everyone was shocked and retreated. As for the others, they exclaimed, "Too strong." Even the immortal martial monarch and the spiritual supremacy were stunned. Who was this person? He was even more anxious than them. When they saw clearly who it was, they were surprised. This was martial monarch Bayu, the martial monarch of the other side. She was also defeated by Lin Xian. Had she suffered a loss? When Lin Xian saw her, he also laughed. What a coincidence today. Were all the losers from before here? You people were no match for me in the past, and you're still no match for me now. What right do you have to stand in front of me? Get lost." Lin Xian's voice was extremely arrogant. Martial Monarch Baiyu and the other two were so shocked that they trembled all over. Damn it. The three of them were about to join forces. Lin Xian snorted coldly. "Do you want to fight? Then you'll have to bear the consequences." A trace of extremely terrifying reincarnation power appeared in his eyes as he stared at Martial Monarch Baiyu. Martial Monarch Baiyu's soul trembled. He was shocked. "Your eyes have improved again. Could it be that you fused with the Hell Path?" That was impossible. How long had it been? The other party had succeeded. He was too shocked. Lin Xian said, "Thank you for your Hell Path." Martial Monarch Baiyu's face was ugly. He was so angry that he vomited blood. However, he didn't make a move. Previously, he wasn't a match for Lin Xian. This time, the other party's strength had increased again. He was afraid that it would be difficult for him to fight against him. However, he didn't leave. After all, the reincarnation mountain was extremely terrifying. There must be a shocking treasure here, and it was definitely related to the 6 paths of reincarnation. It didn't matter if he lost the Hell Path. He could find it here with the power of the other 6 paths. Lin Xian looked around. Then he stared at the immortal emperor. "It seems that you're the most miserable here. Your heart has been dug out, right?" Indeed, the immortal emperor's heart had been lost. This point was hidden very well. However, it couldn't be hidden from Lin Xian's Rinnegan. Lin Xian threw a punch at the immortal emperor. The immortal emperor was furious. You're courting death." What did he mean? Did he think that he was the weakest and the easiest to bully? Damn it, how dare he underestimate him? He let out a furious roar and charged over with the indestructible heaven steel. The two of them fought fiercely. Boom, boom. Soon he was knocked back, his blood boiling. The immortal emperor was shocked. "Your 9-yang divine body has become so powerful." He found that Lin Xian was even more terrifying than when he met him before. Lin Xian said, "This is just the beginning. Feel the power of my eyes." He threw the Rinnegan over. Boom. An earth-shattering sound came again. The immortal emperor covered his head, his face pale. "Damn it, your soul—" He was too shocked. Although he wasn't in his peak state, he wasn't comparable to others. However, Lin Xian had actually managed to injure him, which shocked him greatly. This was too terrifying. Some people had come to the heavens. The great emperors and those below the supremes were watching from afar. They belonged to different sects and forces. Many of them were from the other world. When they saw this scene, they exclaimed, "The immortal emperor was sent flying. That young man is so powerful. Who is he?" When someone looked carefully, they exclaimed, "He seems to be Lin Wudi." "What? He's our enemy from the other world. Damn it, he's so strong." "Don't worry. There are so many supremes and great emperors here this time. Maybe we can kill him. Let's work together and get rid of him." The immortal emperor roared. He looked at the spiritual supremes and great Emperor Baiyu. The expressions of the plain-clothed old man and the others changed drastically upon hearing those words. Those 3 were all martial emperors. If they worked together, it would be too terrifying. The ancient crocodile also roared, "You've lived for hundreds of thousands of years, right? You're too shameless. Even I look down on you. Little beast, what do you know?" The spiritual supremes roared. The ancient crocodile said, "I'm a little beast. I'm a figure from 500,000 years ago, but I've been sleeping until now. In terms of age, you might not be older than me. Also, you're too shameless. Come and see. There's a shameless great emperor here." This voice spread in all directions, causing the people in the distance to discuss animatedly. Great Emperor Baiyu's expression was ugly. To be honest, he also wanted to work together to get rid of the other party. However, more and more people arrived. He couldn't make a move. He couldn't afford to lose face. Although he was a great emperor, he was from the other world. Joining the otherworld heavenly king would mean that he was a supreme existence among the great emperors. His glory and pride didn't allow him to join forces. The spiritual supremes didn't have that much. In order to survive, he was even willing to give up his immortal chi, not to mention joining forces to attack a young man. To him, as long as he could achieve his goal, it didn't matter what method he used. Therefore, he walked out. The two of them wanted to join forces. Chapter 59-67. In the distance, another great emperor-level figure arrived. A pink skeleton arrived with an army of skeletons. She chuckled softly and said, "Supreme Masters, do you want to join forces too? Moreover, it's to deal with a young man. How embarrassing. If you don't have the strength, get lost. Don't stay here. You don't deserve to be with us." Who was it? Hearing this mockery, the spirit sovereign was immediately angry. In his eyes, there was an extremely terrifying desolate law that swept across the 8 desolates. When he saw the white bones, his pupils shrank. "Bone Emperor, you're here too." This skeleton was not simple. It was also a great emperor, and its strength was not weaker than his. In fact, it seemed that it was even stronger than him. The Bone Emperor walked out. He looked at Lin Xian and said with a smile, "Little guy, you're not simple. The last time I saw you in hell, you were only a little quasi-emperor. Now, you've grown into the 10-crown king. You're really a young hero." Humph! Another cold snort came from the sky. Then, endless yellow spring water filled the air. From the yellow spring water, a figure emerged. The yellow spring great emperor. Everyone's scalp went numb. This was the power of death. The yellow spring great emperor came. He stared at Lin Xian and snorted coldly, but he didn't make a move. Lin Xian was surprised. There were so many old friends. He also knew the yellow spring great emperor, but he didn't know if Mingdi had come. Back then, 2 of the 3 great emperors in hell had come. Mingdi was the last one. He looked around, but didn't see Mingdi. However, there were a few other people who had arrived. These people were arrogant and unruly. Their auras were also terrifying. Lin Xian had never seen them before. However, judging from the information on them, they were definitely great emperors or supremes. It seemed that these people were all ancient existences who had now awakened. Furthermore, these people seemed to be in their own camps and could be considered as rogue cultivators. On the other side, only Baiyu Great Emperor came. The Supremes didn't join forces with each other. Only the Spirit Sovereign and the imperishable Great Emperor were linked. Lin Xian was shocked. He wondered if all the Supreme Beings had joined the Supreme Being Palace. Or could it be that there were different factions in the Supreme Hall? The water is very deep. It was indeed this place. I felt that I had a great opportunity here. An old laugh could be heard. The crowd turned their heads around and saw an old man walking over. This old man was wearing cotton clothes and was holding a canvas in his hand. He was holding a big yellow dog in his left hand, baring his teeth. Beside the old man was a beautiful woman. Her physique was extremely mysterious. Lotuses of the great Tao covered her feet as she walked. Lotuses bloomed with every step she took. This person's understanding of the great Tao was extremely terrifying. This young man was really something. The sudden appearance of these 2 people attracted the attention of others. Everyone turned their heads to look. Lin Xian was also surprised. "It's you." The woman surrounded by the great Tao was none other than Zhong Linxiu. At this moment, Zhong Linxiu's strength was much stronger than before, especially her born Taoism aptitude. It had improved by leaps and bounds. Lin Xian felt that even if it hadn't reached greater mastery, it was almost there. It seemed that there was indeed a fortuitous encounter. "Do you need help?" Zhong Linxiu asked. "Sure." Lin Xian smiled. Zhong Lingxiu walked over. The others were shocked, especially Baiyu Great Emperor and the imperishable Great Emperor. Their expressions immediately turned ugly. Another super genius had arrived, and it was Lin Xian's side. The situation didn't look good. So what if there were more helpers? Baiyu Great Emperor and the other two walked out. This time, they also planned to join forces. After all, the number of people on the other side had increased. That's great. The imperishable Great Emperor was overjoyed. As long as Baiyu Great Emperor joined their side, they could definitely sweep everything away if they joined forces. The situation was once again in crisis. Chen Yixin shook his head. You guys are really shameless. The big yellow dog beside him also barked twice with a disdainful expression. Baiyu Great Emperor had completely thrown caution to the wind in order to kill this kid. So what if they joined forces? The surrounding people all retreated. They knew that a great battle was about to erupt. Kid, your current situation isn't good, right? Do you want me to help you? Suddenly, a voice sounded in Lin Xian's ears. Lin Xian frowned. He asked, "Who are you?" The voice said, "No matter who I am, I have a way to help you. At least I can help you block a supreme. This way, the pressure on you will be much less. Otherwise, you will probably be in danger today. Would you be so kind?" Lin Xian didn't believe it. The voice said, "Of course, I won't help you for no reason. I know that your physique is the 9-yang divine body. How about this? Let's make a deal. You tell me the secret of the 9-yang divine body, and I will help you. How about it? This is a good deal. You already have a divine body. You won't lose anything by giving this physique to me. And without my help, you might very well die here today. So I think you should know what to choose." The voice was very confident. However, Lin Xian frowned. Was this looting a burning house? Did she really think that he couldn't resolve the situation? He said coldly, "I don't even know if you are a human or a ghost. Come out and let me take a look." "No problem." The voice disappeared. At the same time, a figure walked over from afar. This person was wearing white clothes and a white mask. His entire person was extremely strange. There was a mysterious and abnormal aura on his body. His appearance caused the surrounding people to be shocked. Had another super strong cultivator arrived? "Kid, what do you think?" The mysterious person said coldly. Lin Xian saw the other party and his eyes flickered. "So it's you. You want to take my divine body. Hurry up and get lost, or I will kill you." The cold voice sounded, causing the surrounding people to be stunned. What did they see? Lin Wudi was actually scolding a super expert. What was going on? The mysterious expert was also enraged. Her body was trembling with anger. "Good, you don't know how to appreciate kindness. I have no regrets. I have never been scolded. Today, you will pay the price. No regrets." Many people were stunned, but the eyes of the immortal heavenly emperor and the spirit sovereign lit up. "May I ask if you are the immortal heavenly emperor of the Valley of No Return?" "Yes, it is me," the mysterious figure said proudly with his hands behind his back. He was wearing a mask on his face, so no expression could be seen, but his voice was full of arrogance. As expected of a fellow Taoist. "Fellow Taoist, don't cooperate with this kid. Join forces with us." "What do you want?" "When the time comes, we can suppress him and get everything. He not only has the 9-yang divine body, but also other treasures. When the time comes, we will divide them equally." "Okay." The immortal heavenly emperor nodded. He stared at Lin Xian and said coldly, "Stupid kid. You will regret your decision later. Everyone, let's attack together." The immortal heavenly emperor laughed loudly. He felt that this time he could definitely suppress the other party. The black heavenly steel in his hand attacked, and the indestructible laws erupted. The spirit sovereign also attacked. The desolate laws spread out as if they could take away all life. The immortal heavenly emperor also attacked. He made a strange sound that spread to the surroundings. The people who were enveloped by this sound only felt their souls shake. Some of them even had lifeless eyes. They couldn't help but walk forward. Not good. Retreat quickly. Don't be enveloped by his soul attack, a great emperor roared. The others came back to their senses and were incomparably terrified. They quickly retreated. At the same time, they were shocked. The white feather great emperor hadn't even attacked yet, but these three people were already so terrifying. If they joined forces, they would sweep through everything. Together with the white feather great emperor, that would be a super lineup. Lin Wuti definitely wouldn't be able to resist. Could it be that the other party was going to die here? Bailing, and the others were in despair. The ancient crocodile's expression was also ugly, but he took a deep breath and stood out. Zhong Lingxiu also walked out and said, "I will help you stop a supreme." She waved her hand and attacked the spirit sovereign. Lin Xian nodded. "Okay, be careful." He took out the immortal slaying sword and pointed it at the sky. The sharp sword light swept in all directions. The sword light swept out in all directions, directly enveloping the immortal heavenly emperor and the white feather great emperor. Is this guy going to fight two great emperors alone? Too arrogant. Let's deal with one too. Chen Yixin stared at Supreme Wu Hui. The big yellow dog under his feet roared to fight against the other party's soul attack. The ancient crocodile also came to Chen Yixin's side. He also cooperated with the big yellow dog to fight against Supreme Wu Hui. The battle broke out instantly. What shocked everyone was that the four great emperors working together couldn't kill Lin Xian. Lin Xian fought against two great emperors alone. Although he was at a disadvantage, he didn't show any signs of losing. As for the others, they actually managed to block the attacks of the Supremes as well. They were simply too powerful. Even such a lineup couldn't kill Lin Wuti. The immortal great emperor's face was twisted with anger. The white feather great emperor roared as well. He said, "Don't hold back." Immortal chi exploded from his body continuously. The immortal great emperor's divine flame was also flickering. The two of them were about to unleash a peerless attack. Lin Xian naturally felt the danger. He snorted coldly. "You two don't know what's good for you. Then I'll let you see my power." He took out the great dragon sword soul. Together with the immortal slaying sword, he attacked the immortal great emperor. At the same time, the reincarnation sword's phantom was summoned by the Rinnegan and attacked the white feather great emperor. When the two forces appeared, countless people were shocked. Even the other great emperors were shocked. This was the power of the great dragon sword and the reincarnation sword. This kid actually controlled 2 of the 5 swords of the world. It was unbelievable. Chapter 5968. 2 streaks of sword chi surged and slashed at the 2 great emperors. Great Emperor Baiyu roared. He had been injured by the reincarnation sword's phantom before. After seeing it, he roared angrily, "I will never be injured again." The wings on his back kept expanding, as if they had turned into 2 shields to block, frantically. An earth-shattering sound was heard, turning into a black hole. On the other side, Great Emperor Bu Mie retreated. The sharp aura of the great dragon sword soul caused cracks to appear on his body. "Damn it, I'm immortal," he roared crazily. Immortal seal. He struck out with a large black seal that contained an extremely powerful force to block the attack. After the attack, Lin Xian stood there, but the 2 great emperors kept retreating. This shocked everyone. Lin Wuti was already so strong. He actually repelled the joint attack of 2 great emperors. Supreme Wu Hui and Supreme Huangling also frowned when they saw this scene. No, they had to work together to kill Lin Wuti first, because he was too strong. Before they could even make a move, the reincarnation mountain beneath them began to change. This was because the reincarnation sword's phantom didn't disappear after slashing Great Emperor Baiyu back. Instead, it was absorbed by the reincarnation mountain below. The reincarnation mountain let out another rumble and continued to fly upward. This scene caused a strange phenomenon to take place. Everyone stopped and looked down at the reincarnation mountain. Even Lin Xian was surprised. It seemed that the Six Paths Gate was about to open. He didn't accept the challenge. After transmitting his voice to Zhong Lingxiu, Qin Yixian, and the ancient crocodile, Lin Xian turned into a stream of light and disappeared. At the same time, a black vortex appeared above the old man in linen clothes bailing and the others. It swallowed them and took them away. Trying to escape? Where are you going? Great Emperor Baiyu roared furiously and chased after him. The others also began to move. Let's see what's so mysterious about this mountain. They quickly entered the mountain. However, this mountain seemed to be different from the other mountains. Normally, there were no treasures at the foot of a mountain, but there were treasures at the top. However, there was something strange about this mountain. There was nothing at the top of the mountain, but there seemed to be a mysterious aura at the foot of the mountain. However, the foot of the mountain was still underground. Thus, the crowd could only descend rapidly. Damn it, did I lose him? Great Emperor Baiyu stopped, and her face turned ugly. This mountain was abnormally terrifying. After he landed, he discovered that Lin Xian had already disappeared. Behind them, Emperor Bumie, Supreme Huangling, and Supreme Wu Hui arrived as well. The four of them worked together for the time being. Among them, Paragon Regretless took out a cauldron and said, "Let me take a look." He slapped the cauldron with his palm, and the cauldron let out a sound that echoed in the surroundings. Then he snorted coldly, "I found him." With that, he pointed in a direction. Great Emperor Baiyu smiled. "Let's attack together." The four great emperors joined forces and attacked in that direction. This direction was indeed where Lin Xian was. At this moment, for extremely bright lights shone, illuminating the entire reincarnation mountain. Everyone felt their hair stand on end. This was the combined attack of the great emperors. It was too powerful. They saw the four great emperors joining forces and attacking in the same direction. And in that direction, several figures appeared. One of them was Lin Xian. "Retreat quickly." Lin Xian waved his hand and asked Zhong Lingxiu and the others to retreat while he went forward to meet them. The heaven-devouring jar appeared in his hand, and he slapped it fiercely. A black vortex appeared. In the next moment, it collided with the four great emperors' attacks, and an earth-shattering sound was heard. The black vortex was instantly penetrated and then torn apart. "Not good," Zhong Lingxiu and the others exclaimed when they saw this scene. Let alone 10 crown king, even a true great emperor wouldn't be able to resist such an attack. Even if Lin Xian had more trump cards, it would be difficult for him to resist it. When the black vortex disappeared, they quickly searched. However, they discovered that Lin Xian was gone. Was he dead? When the other supremes and great emperors saw this scene, they discussed animatedly. Someone said, "He must be dead." After all, no one could resist such an attack. That was four martial monarchs teaming up against one another. Yes, the others also sighed. No matter how strong Lin Wudi was, he was too arrogant and careless. If he had chosen to dodge earlier, perhaps he could have survived. He was finally dead. Emperor Bumie smiled. The four of them walked forward to find Lin Xian's body, but soon they were stunned. There was no one. There was nothing around, only broken cracks. Lin Xian's body was nowhere to be found. At the same time, Zhong Lingxiu and the others also received a voice transmission. "Continue on your way." The voice transmission was from Lin Xian. Zhong Lingxiu and the others heaved a sigh of relief Lin Xian was not dead. Emperor Baiyu and the others also reacted instantly. Damn it, did they let him escape? Hurry up and find him. The four of them reached out their souls and searched everywhere, but they couldn't find him. Where was Lin Xian? Damn it, this time they couldn't let him escape. They quickly chased after him. The other great emperors were also surprised. Bone Emperor said, "I knew this kid wouldn't die so easily." Emperor Huang Quan's eyes flickered. After thinking for a while, he didn't make a move. He said, "Let's look for the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation first. I have a feeling that this has something to do with the sword of reincarnation." The surrounding great emperors and the mysterious supremes all began to move. These people all had one goal, which was to find power and increase their strength. On the other side, Lin Xian also walked out from the void. His face was gloomy. The attack just now was indeed dangerous. He couldn't resist the joint attack of the 4 great emperors. The power of the heaven-devouring jar was shattered in an instant. However, at the critical moment, he entered the sword world. This was an ancient land, so he could completely dodge the attack of the 4. "I will remember the 4 of you. I will make all of you fall." Lin Xian snorted and then continued to search. He also felt the powerful power of the 6 paths of reincarnation here. Therefore, he was prepared to find this power first. Lin Xian took out the heaven-devouring crown. At this moment, the old man in linen clothes and the others were in the heaven-devouring jar. Lin Xian said, "Continue to use your soul to sense." The old man in linen clothes nodded. His Shura soul walked out and sensed. Then he said, "There." He pointed in a direction below. Lin Xian's body swayed and flew down. Not long after, he felt a mysterious power shrouding him. It was as if he had entered another world. This was the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation. Lin Xian was surprised. He used his Rinnegan to investigate carefully. Then he took a deep breath. This was a sect. Previously, they had discussed this reincarnation mountain. This was a mysterious mountain, but there were no buildings. But now, the scene in front of Lin Xian was different. There were broken buildings, cracked pavilions, and split open halls. This was clearly the remnants of an ancient sect that had experienced a great war. Could it be that this was it? The ancient 6 paths of reincarnation. Chapter 59-69. Looking at the scene in front of him, Lin Xian was extremely happy. It seemed that he had arrived earlier than the others. This was great. This way, he would have enough time to search for treasures. Lin Xian activated his Rinnegan to the extreme and continued to walk forward. Behind him, Bailing, the old man in linen, and the others were also surprised. This was the ancient 6 Daos gate. It was truly inconceivable. They carefully followed the path forward. Suddenly, Bailing exclaimed. She looked down and saw some broken bones on the ground. Although these bones were broken, the aura of the great Tao on them was still extremely terrifying. These were the bones of quasi-emperors. Some of them had even surpassed quasi-emperors. Could it be that these were the bones of great emperors? Heavens, did the great emperors fall here back then? What happened to the ancient 6 paths gate? Even Lin Xian was shocked. He lowered his head and carefully examined these bones. He wanted to see if there was anything that could still be used. After all, he now had the Hell Dao and could summon these corpses. However, he soon frowned. These white bones were all shattered to pieces. After all, the ancient 6 paths gate was more than 1,000,000 years old. It was so old that even great emperors might not be able to survive. Let's go. The group continued to walk forward. The deeper they went, the more bones they found. Most of them were broken. Very few of them were intact. However, Lin Xian still managed to discover a few of them. Although their bodies had been shattered, they were still alive. Although these bones were broken, they seemed to be at the great emperor level. Perhaps they could be used to summon them. Lin Xian didn't miss this opportunity. He used the power of the Hell Tao to envelop these bones and leave a mark. It could be used as a trump card at a critical moment. Just like this, the group walked among the bones. Suddenly, they stopped. Bailing exclaimed, "What a beautiful stone!" There was a stone in front of them. The stone was about 3 meters tall. It stood there, exuding a mysterious aura. What a strong reincarnation power! The old man in linen was shocked. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. The reincarnation power contained in this stone was really too strong. Furthermore, the surface of the stone was as smooth as a mirror. They continued to walk forward, but suddenly an extremely terrifying sword light shot towards them from all directions. It was as if the sword of a god had slashed down. Bailing and the plain-clothed old man jumped in fright. They simply could not withstand such power. However, Lin Xian struck out with his palm and blocked the sword chi. At the same time, he retreated with the others. What a terrifying sword chi! There was actually a formation left behind here. Are there still any ancient 6 Tao gates left? However, thinking about it, it did make sense. After all, the Wraith Path from before was also here. He said to the 2 people behind him, "You two, be careful." Bailing and the old man nodded, although he didn't act rashly anymore. Lin Xian walked forward alone. Sure enough, as he approached, he was attacked by the formation again. Those sword chi carried the power of the 6 Tao of reincarnation. Once he was hit, he would probably vanish into thin air. However, this was not a problem for Lin Xian. Lin Xian used the Rinnegan and the 6 Tao of reincarnation to fight against it. Not long after, he cracked these formations. Then he turned around and said, "Okay, come here." Bailing and the old man in linen came over and followed Lin Xian to the strange-shaped stone. Lin Xian had seen many strange stones. He knew that after being cut, there was an unknown existence inside. However, this stone was obviously not used to be cut. There was a portrait on the strange-shaped stone. Bailing suddenly exclaimed. She found that there was a beautiful woman in the portrait, standing on auspicious clouds and flying between heaven and earth. Who is this? Why do I feel that she looks like me? Bailing was curious. The old man in linen was also shocked. The scene in front of him also changed. It turned into a mighty middle-aged man, sweeping in all directions. However, in the end, he was pierced by a sharp sword and died on the battlefield. It was very tragic. The old man in linen was also shocked. He took a deep breath and exclaimed, "Could it be that this is the legendary reincarnation stone of 3 lives? What is this?" Lin Xian was curious. Bailing was also puzzled. The old man in linen said, "This stone is very strange. Legend has it that you can see the appearance of your previous life." "What? This is what I looked like in my previous life." Bailing was surprised. Lin Xian's brows were tightly knitted together. Is there really reincarnation? Can people be reincarnated after death? He was not clear about all of this. After all, life was really too magical. Who could really see through life and death? What are other names and other previous lives? Lin Xian looked up, but in the next moment, he was stunned, because the scene in front of him was blurry, and he could not see it clearly at all. "Master, what's going on?" Bailing was curious and asked the old man in linen. The old man in linen frowned tightly. It was strange. People should have a previous life, and they could even see it several times. However, Lin Gongzi could not see it clearly. It could only mean that the young master's heavenly secrets were too mysterious. For the time being, it was not the time to unravel it. Is it like this? Lin Xian frowned after hearing this. Originally, he wanted to see what his previous life was like. However, it seemed that there was no hope now. However, Lin Xian felt a huge power of the 6 paths on this stone of 3 lives. If he absorbed it, it would definitely make his Rinnegan stronger again. When he thought of this, Lin Xian's Rinnegan erupted with an incomparable light. It shrouded the front. The stone of 3 lives shook violently, and the scene on it disappeared. His radiance seemed to have dimmed. At this moment, a deep roar was heard. Who dares to come here and behave atrociously? There's actually someone here. When Bailing and the others heard this, their expressions changed drastically, and they turned their heads abruptly. In the next moment, they saw a black eye floating over. The black eye was extremely terrifying and strange. After seeing it, they exclaimed, "The Wraith Path!" Lin Xian also turned his head and stared at the other party. He said, "You're here? It's you. Boy, it's you." The Wraith Path also saw Lin Xian, and his eyes immediately turned red. His murderous aura surged, and boundless killing power swept in all directions. Last time, he was defeated and scared away by this guy. He did not expect that the other party would chase after him. "How did you get in? You're only from the Wraith Path, and I have a Rinnegan. Why can't I come here? I can also use and cultivate the power of the 6 paths. Damn it, you're just a latecomer. You're not from the 6 paths at all. You don't deserve to cultivate the power of the 6 paths." Its black eyes roared nonstop. Lin Xian was stunned when he heard this. He asked, "So, you're from the 6 paths?" The black eye said proudly, "Of course." "That's great." The corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up. "In that case, you should know the secret of the ancient 6 paths. Tell me, how was your sect destroyed? Who destroyed it? Also, does your sect really control the reincarnation sword? Where is it now?" Chapter 5970. Lin Xian asked a lot of questions in an instant because he was really too curious and had too many doubts. However, the black eye opposite him was angry. "Damn kid, who do you think you are? Why should I tell you? Also, you are a dying man. You don't need to know so much. You don't deserve to have the Rinnegan. I will take it." After that, the black eye began to bloom with a terrifying light. He summoned the terrifying, resentful spirits between heaven and earth. "Kid, I know you are very powerful. Last time, I was no match for you. But now, this is the 6 Paths Gate. There are too many powerhouses who have fallen here. Some of their souls are still in this space. I can summon them. Can you resist it?" As soon as he finished speaking, the surrounding cold wind blew, and ghosts wailed, and wolves howled. The cold aura suppressed the air to the extreme. Bailing and the linen-clothed old man's faces changed drastically, and they retreated in horror. Lin Xian unleashed a vortex that enveloped their bodies. Only then did they manage to preserve their lives. At the same time, he walked out and said, "Outside, you are no match for me. Here, you are no match for me." "What a joke. You are too reckless. Charge." The black eyes roared angrily. In the surroundings, the remnant souls that he summoned rushed over crazily. These remnant souls were really terrifying. These were all powerhouses from the primordial age, or even the ancient times. They rushed over crazily, and in an instant they enveloped Lin Xian. "Oh no, Lin Gongzi, be careful!" Bailing and the others exclaimed. Lin Xian snorted coldly. "6 paths, I am the master. Retreat." The power of the 6 paths of reincarnation poured into his body. He roared angrily, and like the god of the heavenly Tao, he forced these remnant souls to retreat. These remnant souls were indeed unparalleled powerhouses when they were alive. However, the passage of time had already worn away the majority of their power. So they are no match for me. Also, do you think you are the only one who can summon them? I will also let you see the new supernatural power that I have mastered. Lin Xian used the hell path of the 6 paths of reincarnation. Previously, he had marked the bones with his soul. They also walked out one after another. Some of them were as tall as ancient mountains. Some of them had black, purple and golden bones. These were all the corpses left behind by terrifying experts after their deaths. Furthermore, their numbers were no less than those of the vengeful spirits. Seeing this scene, the black eyes were shocked and summoned the corpse. This was the power of the Hell Path. How could he possess the Hell Path? He was simply too shocked. He remembered that the last time he fought with the other party's Rinnegan only had 3 paths: heaven, earth, and human. But none of these 3 methods could summon corpses. How long had it been since they last met? Yet the other party had already grasped the Hell Path. Why? Are you surprised? That's right. I'm not an existence that you can understand. Thus, you're simply no match for me. The remnant's soul and the corpse fought fiercely, resulting in a terrifying explosion. Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back. His Rinnegan was blooming with mysterious light. He was full of confidence. On the other side, the black eyes were exasperated. Boy, don't be arrogant. These are all strong masters of the past, but they're not from the Six Paths sect. Now, I'm summoning people from the Six Paths sect. Let's see if you can resist them. You're too naive to fight against the Six Paths sect. The black eyes roared. The power of the evil spirit path above it became even more terrifying. Boom. In the distance, a broken palace suddenly split open. From inside, an extremely terrifying aura emerged. Then, an illusory figure walked out. This figure was very hazy. It was obvious that it was a remnant soul. However, he was really too terrifying. He was like a god above the 9 heavens. As soon as he appeared, he suppressed everything. What was this? Bailing's face turned pale. The linen-clothed old man's expression also changed drastically. He said, "It's really someone from the Six Paths sect. Lin Gongzi, you must be careful. He's from the ancient Six Paths sect. Moreover, he should be a peerless powerhouse of the past." Hearing this reminder, Lin Xian also took a deep breath. He also felt a huge pressure. It was just a remnant soul, but it was already so terrifying. It seemed that this person was also a great emperor when he was alive. Moreover, he was a great emperor who had mastered the 6 paths of reincarnation. How could he awaken such a terrifying remnant soul? It was a supreme elder. Even the black eyes lit up. He didn't expect to summon the remnant soul of a great emperor. He laughed. "Ha ha, the heavens are helping me. Kid, how are you going to resist? Ask the Grand Elder to kill them all. They're enemies. They want to take the 6 paths of reincarnation." The summoned ancient figure suddenly let out an earth-shattering roar. He raised his hand and struck out. A sword of the 6 paths came down fiercely. This sword was too terrifying. It wasn't the sword of reincarnation, but it contained the extremely strong power of the 6 paths. Lin Xian's expression changed drastically. He struck out the hand of the heavenly path to resist it. A pair of mystical eyes reached out a palm from inside and slapped at the sword of the 6 paths. After the collision, an earth-shattering sound was heard. Everyone's soul seemed to be about to split open. Lin Xian also took 2 steps back. He was so powerful. How could he block it? The black eyes were shocked. This kid's strength was really beyond his expectations. As for the summoned ancient figure, he rushed over and attacked nonstop. The swords of the 6 paths were like mountains pressing down on Lin Xian. Lin Xian used the power of the Rinnegan to fight back. However, in the end, he was angry. "Humph, do you really think I can't suppress you? You're not good enough in sword skills." He took out the immortal killing sword and slashed it out, splitting the sword of the 6 paths. He attacked fiercely, and the 2 sides fought fiercely. This time, the sword of the 6 paths was completely suppressed. Lin Xian said coldly, "What else do you have? Although you summoned the soul of a great emperor, it's still a remnant soul. I've even killed a great emperor before, let alone a mere remnant soul. In the end, Lin Xian's sword slashed across the sky, forming a sword steel, and directly suppressed the remnant soul of the great emperor. The sharp aura made it impossible for the other party to escape. It was too powerful. Bailing and the others cheered. However, the black eye's expression was ugly. Lin Xian walked forward. Okay, it's time to deal with you. He was like a sword god, forcing the black eyes to retreat. In the end, the black eyes seemed to have made some kind of decision. Damn kid, just you wait. You're dead meat. After that, he flew into the distance. He actually rushed towards the Stone of Three Lives. The Stone of Three Lives was 3 meters tall. It emitted a mysterious light. The black eyes directly rushed towards it, causing a monstrous movement. Then, the power of the evil spirit realm completely enveloped the Stone of Three Lives. What was he doing? Bailing and the others were stunned. Even Lin Xian frowned. In the next moment, he saw that the Stone of Three Lives cracked. From inside, a heart jumped out. Chapter 5971. The heart was extremely terrifying. It let out an earth-shaking sound like thunder. The endless power of the 6 paths surrounded it. Then, an illusory figure appeared in his heart. It was a woman, like a fairy from the 9 heavens. This magical scene shocked everyone. Lin Xian's brows were tightly knitted together as he felt a sense of danger. The heart and the phantom of the woman had terrifying power. The evil spirit's eyes, however, laughed out loud. He said, "Kid, you're dead. Do you know what this heart is? Do you know what this woman's phantom is? She's the saintess of the 6 Paths sect. Let's see how you'll die." The saintess of the ancient 6 Paths sect was even more terrifying than the elder that was summoned before. "Who woke me up?" the saintess soul said in a deep voice. The black eyes said, "It's me, saintess. You're finally awake. This kid is not from the 6 Paths sect. However, he has a Rinnegan. Capture him. If you take the Rinnegan, the 6 Paths sect might have a chance to recover." The soul of the saintess of the 6 Paths sect looked at Lin Xian. Suddenly, the world around Lin Xian collapsed. Lin Xian also kept retreating. His pupils constricted. His Rinnegan emitted a terrifying light and formed the 6 paths of reincarnation to resist. However, he was still forced back. What a terrifying power. This woman is too terrifying. Little guy, be careful. At this moment, DeLong also spoke. He said, "This woman is very strong. Moreover, the heart beside her should be left behind by the sect leader of the 6 Paths sect. That's the source of power. The combination of the two probably surpasses the strength of an ordinary great emperor." Hearing DeLong's words, Lin Xian sucked in a breath of cold air. Was he stronger than the average great emperor? No wonder his qi and blood were roiling, as if he was facing a great enemy. "It turns out that you're an ancient senior. Junior greets you here. However, I obtained the Rinnegan by chance. It already belongs to me. I can't give it away. Senior, if you have any unfulfilled wishes, you can tell me. I can help you fulfill them." Lin Xian's voice sounded. The black eyes in front snorted coldly. "You're not worthy." "Saintess, don't listen to his excuses. This brat is very cunning. Immediately suppress him." The saintess of the 6 paths walked forward like an empress. As she walked, she carried the power of the 6 paths. "Not good," the ancient crocodile exclaimed. Bailing and the others were scared silly. Lin Xian also frowned. "Since we can't come to an agreement, we can only fight." He had never been afraid of anyone. He took out the immortal slaying sword and prepared to fight. He knew that this was going to be a tough battle. The figure ahead was a lot stronger than Martial Monarch Bayu, the immortal Martial Monarch, and the others. Holy Daughter of the 6 Paths let out a cold harumph and waved her hand, causing the heart of the six paths to thump violently. Immediately, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The entire reincarnation mountain began to shake violently. Heaven and earth split open as countless mysterious forces erupted. Meanwhile, the martial monarchs and 9 heaven supremes who had stayed on the mountain were astounded too. They felt their blood run cold as they sensed an extremely powerful force. What's going on? The entire mountain peak was trembling. I could sense an astonishing power. Who is it? Is it an ancient existence that has awakened? Countless voices of discussion could be heard. Zhong Linxiu frowned. Chun Yixin's eyes also shone with a cold light. The aura of the ancient Six Paths Gate had surpassed that of an ordinary martial monarch. Could it be that there was still someone in the Six Paths Gate that had survived? Zhong Linxiu also said, I wonder how Lin Xian is doing. Although he is still alive, he has disappeared. In the Six Paths Gate, Lin Xian's blood was boiling. He took out the sky-devouring jar as if he was facing a great enemy. That heart had stirred up such a monstrous force with just a single beat. How powerful was this heart when it was alive? Could it have become an immortal? The black eyes laughed. Kid, do you see that? This is the power of our Saintess. You can't resist it at all. I only need one move, and you will be suppressed. When that time comes, I will make you wish you were dead. He laughed proudly. The Saintess of the Six Paths was expressionless. Her illusory palm grabbed forward. Just at this moment of crisis, Lin Xian was startled because he had previously sent a few clones to the Sword World to dig for treasures. His purpose was to dig out some corpses of martial monarchs to summon. Now that Lin Xian was facing such a terrifying attack, he wanted to use the Wraith Path to summon the Palm of the Sun Valley to block it. However, before he could summon it, one of the clones sent a message that they had dug out something. It was a token, unusually simple and unadorned. He wondered what kind of metal it was made of. The word samsara was written on one side and token on the other. It was a samsara token. Lin Xian was surprised. He could feel an extremely ancient and mysterious aura from the token. Could it be related to the ancient Six Paths Gate? After thinking about it, Lin Xian immediately took out the token from the Sword World. He said coldly, Do you dare to attack me? Look at what this is. The black eyes snorted. Kid, you're about to die, and you're still playing tricks. Do you think that by taking out a command token, you can scare us? It's useless. He snorted disdainfully. However, the Saintess of the Six Paths was stunned. Her hand stopped moving. In the next moment, an extremely shocking light burst out from her eyes. Then, she knelt on the ground. Saintess of the Six Paths greets the Lord of Samsara. This scene caused everyone to be stunned. Lin Xian was stunned. The black eyes were even more shocked. Behind him, Bailing and the plain-clothed elder were also stunned. What did they see? The Saintess of the Six Paths, who was extremely powerful and had surpassed the martial monarchs, was now kneeling on the ground. Was it because of the token? Lin Xian immediately understood. The black eyes were talking about the Lord of Samsara. Could it be that the token belonged to the Lord of Samsara? Lin Xian was too shocked. The Lord of Samsara used to be the owner of the Samsara sword and was extremely powerful. He didn't expect his token to fall in the ancient land. It was really shocking. Impossible. How could you have the token of the Lord of Samsara? Who are you? The black eyes roared crazily. Lin Xian looked at the black eyes and snorted. Why aren't you kneeling when you see the token? The black eyes threw themselves on the ground. However, he still couldn't believe it. Lin Xian snorted and slapped the black eyes. The black eyes screamed in horror and didn't dare to fight back. Now, do you still dare to take my Rinnegan? The black eyes kept shaking his head. No, I don't dare to. Young master, please spare me. Very good. Lin Xian's lips curled up into a smile. Now, I command you to give me the power of the Wraith realm. The black eyes cried after hearing this. The saintess of the six paths said, Do you dare to disobey the order of the Lord of the six paths? Hearing this, the black eyes quickly said, No. He didn't dare to resist. He could only obediently hand over the evil spirit realm. Chapter 5972. In this way, Lin Xian successfully obtained the evil ghost path and absorbed its power. Lin Xian's Rinnegan would become more powerful. He looked at the saintess of the six paths. He said, Tell me about the six paths gate. How was it destroyed in the beginning? And the whereabouts of the samsara sword. The saintess of the six paths said, I'm just a remnant soul now. My soul is missing a lot. Who was the enemy? I don't know. I only know that countless strong masters came to the six paths gate together and fought a great battle. There were countless great emperors and supreme masters in that battle. There were even immortal realm masters. In the end, the ancient six paths gate was destroyed. The samsara sword was broken. What about the samsara master? The samsara master entered the cycle of reincarnation and only left a heart. Were they all dead? In that battle, there was actually an immortal level expert that appeared. Lin Xian was shocked. Although he didn't see it with his own eyes, he knew how terrifying it would be if so many great emperors attacked together. Were there any fragments of the samsara sword? Lin Xian asked. Yes, the saintess of the samsara said. They are all in this heart. Lin Xian looked up at the heart floating in front of the three-life stone. He was shocked. Was this the heart left by the samsara master? There were fragments of the samsara sword in it. If he could get it, his strength would become even more terrifying. Thinking of this, he took a deep breath and walked forward. However, after taking a few steps, he stopped. The reason for that was because when he approached the heart beat once, and a destructive power burst forth. Heaven and earth started to tremble violently once again. Even Lin Xian's blood and qi started to churn. He was only able to withstand the attack by using his majesty and holding the token of the Lord of Samsara. Otherwise, even a great emperor would be torn into two halves by this attack. How could this be? I can't get close to it even with the token of the samsara master? Lin Xian frowned. The saintess of the six paths said, Your strength is a little weak. Weak? Lin Xian smiled bitterly. With his current strength, he could even defeat 10 Crown King and other great emperors. Who would dare to say that he was weak? However, the saintess of the six paths made it sound very normal. She said, Is your reincarnation power not enough? Then what should he do? Enhance the power of Rinnegan? Lin Xian asked, Do you have any resources or secret methods? Saintess of the six paths shook her head. Look at the surroundings. It's already in ruins. The powerful six Daos gate has already been destroyed. There's nothing left. What was left behind was also a few dilapidated walls. There was no other way. Lin Xian frowned. He wanted to enhance the power of the Rinnegan, but it would be too slow. Even if he absorbed the evil spirit realm, it would still be difficult for him to get close. However, at this moment, the saintess of the six paths spoke again. There is still a way. Back then, there were still some things left behind. That was the three-live stone. The reincarnation three-live stone contained the power of reincarnation. The more he absorbed, the stronger the power of the six paths of reincarnation would be. The three-live stone. Lin Xian took a deep breath and stared at the 3-meter-tall three-live stone in front of him. However, the saintess of the six paths said, This won't do. This contains the heart of the Lord of reincarnation. Look for others. Then she waved her hand and grabbed a stone from the distance. This stone was not big, only the size of a fist, but it also contained the power of the six paths of reincarnation. This is the other three-live stone. You can absorb some. Are there many of these stones? Lin Xian asked. The saneness of the six paths shook her head. There are 36 reincarnation, 3 live stone in total, distributed in different places in the reincarnation mountain. Not only here, but also on the mountain outside. You'd better do it quickly. I can sense the aura of many great emperors outside. Lin Xian took a deep breath and said, I know. Lin Xian began to use his Rinnegan to collect the 3 live stones. In the blink of an eye, he had collected 9, but it was still not enough. Lin Xian felt that he had to collect 36 of them. At the same time, the great emperors and supremes on the mountain outside were also shocked. Just now, it jumped again. What a terrifying power. Look, I found a stone. This stone contains the power of the 6 paths. The spiritual sovereign laughed loudly. The other supremes and great emperors quickly turned their heads to look. In the next moment, their eyes turned red. A stone containing the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation. This was a treasure of the ancient 6 paths gate. Woof woof. At this moment, the big yellow dog under Chen Yixian's feet suddenly burst out and rushed out. It bit at Supreme Huang Ling's arm. Supreme Huang Ling screamed, and the 3 live stone in his hand fell from his hand. Damn it, where did this stupid dog come from? Get out of here. He sent the big yellow dog flying with a slap. The big yellow dog rolled a few times in the air and bared its teeth. It seemed that it was not injured. This surprised everyone. This dog is so terrifying. Don't worry, it's still here, Emperor Bu said. He stretched out his hand, enveloping the 3 live stone and grabbing it. But at this moment, the space flashed, and the 3 live stone disappeared. How is this possible? Who is it? Get out of here, Emperor Bu roared crazily. He was going crazy. The 3 live stone disappeared in his hand. Supreme Huang Ling also roared. They began to search in all directions. Some of them stared at the big yellow dog and Chen Yixuan. Did you do this? Chen Yixian said. Shanzai, which eye of yours saw me do it? The immortal emperor was puzzled as well. The disappearance of Lin Fan's soul was indeed strange. The 2 of them stared at Chen Yixian, unwilling to give up. At this moment, Emperor Baiyu laughed. I found another one. He flapped the wings on his back and hit the mountain peak. Immediately, a rock flew toward him. It also contained the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation. It was another 3 live stone. Great. He reached out to grab it, but the stone disappeared in the air. Damn it, Emperor Baiyu roared. The feathers on his body covered the sky and pierced through the 9 heavens. But he still couldn't leave behind the 3 live stone. Just like that, the 3 live stone vanished into thin air. Is it the law of space? The immortal emperor asked. This scene was the same as when he had disappeared. However, Emperor Baiyu frowned. He said, I didn't sense the law of space. Is it the goof family? Many people looked over, but they didn't find anything. Some people said, could there be someone stronger than us secretly attacking? The people who came were all experts. There were even a few great emperors, but they knew that they weren't the strongest. There were strong and weak great emperors. They had only cultivated 1 strand of immortal qi. There were people who managed to cultivate 2 das. Therefore, perhaps there really was someone even more powerful hiding in the dark. A supreme being said, could it be someone from the ancient 6 paths sect who hasn't died yet? If that was the case, then it would be an ancient senior. At this point, a supreme being hurriedly cupped his fists and said, Senior from the ancient 6 paths sect, we didn't mean to disturb you. Senior, please be merciful. Emperor Bu didn't dare to be presumptuous. No matter how strong he was no match for an ancient expert. So he cupped his fists and said, Senior, please calm down. Senior, please be merciful. Emperor Baiyu, Supreme Huangling, and the others all cupped their fists. At this moment, they became extremely respectful. Then they said, let's go and find something else. They continued to search. Chapter 5973. There were already 20 stones in front of Lin Xian. Each of them contained information about the 6 paths of reincarnation. Lin Xian used his Rinnegan to absorb the power on them. His eyes became more and more mysterious. The 3 life stones contained the complete power of the 6 paths. In other words, the missing Tao of Azura was also filled in by the 3 life stones. Lin Xian only needed to absorb the power of these 3 life stones. His Rinnegan would become perfect and powerful. The people outside continued to attack. Next, they found a few more 3 life stones and fought with each other. The battle between the great emperors and supremes erupted, shaking heaven and earth. However, just as they were about to get their hands on them, the 3 life stones all disappeared inexplicably. This made them vomit blood in anger. Damn it, this ancient senior was way too greedy. Wasn't he? Could it be that he wanted all the treasures? Damn it, let's fight it out with him. There are so many of us. Do we have to be afraid of him? Of course, there were also people who said, don't be rash. This is the 6 paths gate. Who knows what unknown power there is? It's not wise to offend them. Let's avoid them for now. There were all kinds of discussions. In the end, they didn't get anything. In front of Lin Xian, there were already 36 reincarnation stones. The 36 3-life stones circled around him. It was as if they formed a perfect 6 paths world. Endless 6 rays of light bloomed, and Lin Xian quickly absorbed the power. In the next moment, heaven and earth shook, and the entire reincarnation mountain changed. The supremes and great emperors outside were shocked. What happened? It was that mysterious power. When they looked carefully, they found that it seemed to be different. The mountain peak cracked, and there was a world inside. They found that the mountain peak cracked, and there was a new space inside. They all rushed out. In the next moment, they were stunned. What an ancient aura! The broken palace, the ancient power. Could this be the ancient 6 paths gate? The great emperors and supremes were stunned. Zhong Lingxiu and Chen Yixian were also surprised and looked around curiously. Suddenly, at this moment, someone said, "Look, isn't that the 3 life stones from before?" They had disappeared outside, but all of them had appeared here. Someone pointed ahead. Everyone turned their heads. In the next moment, their eyes turned red. If they could get the 36 3-life stones, they could definitely condense the reincarnation law. At that time, they might even be able to summon the reincarnation sword. Everyone was extremely excited and quickly rushed over. Boom! The power of the 6 paths of reincarnation erupted, knocking back all those who came. Everyone was terrified. How terrifying! Everyone, don't act rashly. Great Emperor Baiyu shouted, "Let's study it first. Are there any powerful formations?" The rest of the martial monarchs and 9 heaven supremes nodded. Of crack. At this moment, a crack suddenly appeared on the 3 live stone, giving everyone a fright. When they looked carefully, they discovered that some of the 3 live stones were indeed cracked. There was no light on it, and the power of reincarnation had disappeared. The immortal emperor roared, "Who is it? Get out here!" Great Emperor Baiyu also snorted coldly. Could it be inside? They were murderous and wanted to attack. Stop! Who dares to attack? At this moment, the saintess of the 6 paths flew over and said coldly, "Who dares to attack the master of reincarnation?" What? The master of reincarnation? Great Emperor Baiyu was stunned. The immortal emperor's scalp went numb. This was a legendary ancient powerhouse. Could it be that he really didn't die? Thinking of this, they hurriedly cupped their fists and bowed. "Greetings, Senior, Master of Reincarnation. Master of Reincarnation, please forgive my rudeness." Everyone bowed to him respectfully. Bailing and the old man in plain clothes had strange expressions after seeing this. It wasn't the Master of Reincarnation. It was Lin Xian, who had taken the Master of Reincarnation's token. These people didn't worship the Master of Reincarnation. It was Lin Xian. They wondered what the great emperors and supremes' expressions would be when they found out. That was more like it. The saintess of the six paths didn't care about this. Whoever had the Master of Reincarnation's token was her master. Therefore, she said coldly, "You people, wait. The Master of Reincarnation is cultivating. Don't disturb him." Yes, the immortal emperor, Supreme Huangling, and the others hurriedly nodded. They stood to the side respectfully. Everyone quieted down, not daring to disturb him. More and more cracks appeared on the three-life stone. The last few three-life stones shattered into pieces. Then more three-life stones shattered. When the final three-live stone cracked open, Lin Xian walked out of it. He roared to the sky, and the Rinnegan in his right eye shone with a mysterious light. At this moment, his eye became perfect. It contained the six paths and was much more powerful than before. This was great. Lin Xian was overjoyed. This time, his strength had increased so much that it was beyond his imagination. Moreover, he might get the fragment of the reincarnation sword. How could he not be excited? When the others saw this, they were dumbfounded. What was going on? It was this kid. This kid was the Master of Reincarnation. What kind of joke was this? The immortal emperor roared. The Baiyu emperor also frowned. He said coldly, "Kid, how dare you secretly absorb the power of the six paths of reincarnation? Kneel down and give me your power and your eye." Countless furious roars could be heard. At this moment, everyone stared at Lin Xian. Lin Xian laughed. "How dare you be rude to me? You people are courting death. Weren't all of you respectfully addressing me as senior and bowing to me earlier? How could you forget it after a few days? You're courting death." The Baiyu emperor was so angry that he vomited blood. He bowed and spoke humbly because he thought it was the Master of Reincarnation, the Master of the six paths of reincarnation. But he didn't expect it to be this kid. Supreme Huangling and Supreme Wuhui's faces darkened. They had been fooled. It was too embarrassing for them to bow to a young man. Kill him. This kid was pretending to be mysterious. Kill him to relieve the hatred in their hearts. Many people rushed out. Supreme Wuhui was the first to attack. He threw out the Wuhui cauldron. He knocked it fiercely. There were illusions on it that could make people's souls lose their minds. How bold! The saintess of the six paths roared and wanted to attack. Lin Xian stopped her. He said, "No, I'll do it. I also want to try the power of the Rinnegan." After that, Lin Xian looked at Supreme Wuhui and said, "Come here. I'll grant you death." "You're courting death." Supreme Wuhui was furious. He said, "Seal of no regrets." He formed a seal with his palm and slapped it fiercely. His palm print carried an extremely terrifying, murderous intent, as if there was no return. This was his famous unique skill. After the attack, the great emperor didn't feel good either. He didn't believe that the other party could resist it. Humph! Insignificant skill. Lin Xian sneered. His Rinnegan bloomed. This time, it really turned into six worlds. The six paths of reincarnation directly enveloped this attack. Chapter 5974. Boom. The seal of no regrets shattered. Then, the six paths of reincarnation spun and slammed into Supreme Wuhui. Supreme Wuhui spat out blood and was sent flying. He held his head and screamed. His soul had been hit. Was he hurt? He sent Supreme Wuhui flying with just one look. Oh heavens! Has this kid's soul become so strong to such an extent? The Rinnegan contained the true six paths. He had cultivated the perfect Rinnegan. The immortal emperor roared madly as well. Martial Monarch Baiyu, Supreme Huangling, and the others wore twisted expressions. He had absorbed so much power from the three-live stone Had he finally evolved his Rinnegan to this level? Damn it, we can't let him live anymore. Everyone attacked together. Martial Monarch Baiyu stepped forward. Emperor Bu Mia and Supreme Huangling also stepped forward. On the other side, Supreme Wu Hui also came back. He was covered in blood and looked ferocious. How dare you hurt me? I'll make you wish you were dead. The four top experts joined forces again. Last time, Lin Xian couldn't resist such an attack. This time, he was going to die. How dare you attack the master of reincarnation? Do you want to die? The saintess of the six paths walked out and snorted. Emperor Baiyu said, I'm from the other world. How dare you interfere with my business? Get lost. The saintess of the six paths sneered. So, what if you're from the other world? I'm the saintess of the six paths gate. Although this place is destroyed, it's still the territory of the six paths gate. Are you challenging me? Her cold voice resounded in all directions. When the people around heard this, they were all stunned. What? She's the saintess of the six paths? The saintess of the ancient six paths gate. It was too inconceivable. Her remnant soul actually still existed. So what if she was the saintess of the six paths? Emperor Baiyu roared. It's already a broken sect. How can it compete with the other world? The other world is the strongest overlord. Then he slapped out. Terrifying immortal chi surrounded him as he attacked the saintess of the six paths. The saintess of the six paths snorted. Fist of the six paths of reincarnation. The broken soul threw out a super strong punch with a terrifying power that caused the void to tremble. The punch sent Martial Monarch Baiyu flying. He spat out a mouthful of blood. His arms were all broken, blood dripping down into the nine heavens. The surrounding people were shocked. Even a remnant soul was so powerful. It was too unbelievable. The holy daughter of the six paths must have been a great emperor when she was alive. As expected of the ancient six paths gate, it was truly terrifying. Even after being dead for tens of thousands of years, it still possessed such power. Damn it, how is this possible? So powerful. Emperor Baiyu's face turned ugly. He did not expect a remnant soul to be so quiet. However, the immortal emperor said, No, look in the distance, there's a heart. His soul was connected to the saintess of the six paths, and he was providing her with power. Everyone looked into the distance, and sure enough, there was a heart there. Beside the heart, there was a 3-meter-tall rock. The power of the six paths of reincarnation on it was even more terrifying. This was the real reincarnation stone of 3 lives. If we can obtain it, we will definitely possess the power of the six paths of reincarnation. Huang Ling Supreme's eyes turned red instantly. The immortal emperor roared and charged forward. He didn't care about anything else, but he had to get his hands on this heart. His heart, the immortal heart, had been taken away by the demon emperor, which greatly reduced his power. If he could obtain the other heart, he would definitely be able to return to his peak. Therefore, he charged over without hesitation. Stupid. The saintess of the six paths snorted and did not stop him. On the other side, the black-eyed man also sneered. You're courting death. How dare you covet this heart? The immortal supremacy was very fast. In an instant, he was in front of the heart. He reached out his hand and grabbed at the heart. The surrounding people were shocked. Was this treasure going to be taken away by him? However, at this moment, the heart beat violently. The sky fell, and the earth cracked. The imperishable supremacy's body was torn to shreds, torn to shreds. The immortal supremacy turned around and fled with his broken body. He let out a miserable cry, his eyes filled with infinite fear. It was too terrifying. The heart beat once, and his body was shattered. Whose heart was this? It was the heart of an immortal. It was completely beyond his imagination. Even if he really got it, he didn't dare to use it because his body couldn't bear it. How could this be? Great Emperor Baiyu and the others also stopped in their tracks. All the other powerhouses retreated in fear. This heart was too terrifying. It wasn't something they could get. For a moment, the atmosphere was extremely strange. Everyone's eyes were filled with fear. Idiot. Lin Xian sneered. What did you say? Great Emperor Baiyu roared. Lin Xian said, I said you're an idiot. You are all idiots. You want the treasure, but you don't have the strength. Hurry up and get lost. Don't embarrass yourself here. Damn it. Great Emperor Baiyu and the others gritted their teeth. Huang Ling Supreme also said, We don't have the courage? Humph, do you dare to move forward? Why wouldn't you dare? Open your dog eyes and look carefully. Look at how I'm going to get the treasure. Lin Xian said coldly. Then he walked forward. No way, right? He dared to go forward? What kind of joke was this? This heart definitely had an extraordinary origin. Even the power of a great emperor couldn't bear it, let alone him. He was the 10-crown king. No matter how strong he was, he wouldn't have a chance to get it. Countless voices came from the kiln. Zhong Lingxiu also sucked in a breath of cold air. Faced with this heart, her born Taoism aptitude was also on the verge of cracking. She looked at Chen Yixin and said, Master, should we persuade him? Chen Yixin threw a few copper coins in the void. Then her eyes lit up. No need. I just did a divination for him. It was scary but not dangerous. This kid might be able to create a miracle. It was scary but not dangerous. After hearing this, Zhong Lingxiu was shocked. Could it be that Lin Xian could really get this heart? But how could he use it? No one would be able to withstand the power of this heart. Under everyone's attentive gazes, Lin Xian walked forward and approached the heart. He felt a huge pressure. He opened his rinnegan to resist this pressure and continued to move forward. Finally, he moved forward for a distance. However, he stopped and couldn't move forward anymore. Seeing this scene, Great Emperor Baiyu sneered. It's not working. I knew he didn't have the ability. Supreme Huang Ling also shook his head. It turns out that it's just a facade. How disappointing. The other great emperors and supremes also shook their heads and sighed. It seems that no one can get this treasure. Just when they thought it was impossible, Lin Xian took another step forward. He walked forward. Immortal supremes snorted. His body would be broken into pieces just like before. Even with his indestructible body, he still suffered such a terrible injury. He estimated that the other party would be killed in an instant. The others also had the same thought. But in the next moment, they were stunned. Nothing happened. How could it be? Immortal Supreme's eyes almost popped out. His indestructible body was severely injured, but the other party was unharmed. Moreover, the heart wasn't beating. Damn it. Why? Was his luck that good? Chapter 5975. Lucky? The Saintess of Six Paths sneered. You're so stupid. He's not lucky. He's the only one who can get close to the heart. What do you mean? The Void Emperor sneered. However, the Saintess of Six Paths ignored him. Was he being ignored? The Void Emperor was so angry that he almost vomited blood. However, he didn't dare to fight her. The Saintess of Six Paths was very strong. Supreme Huangling said, Look at that kid. He's holding a token. Is it because of that token? Yes, that must be it. Great Emperor Baiyu gritted her teeth. What token is that? Why does it have such a magical effect? With the token of the Master of Samsara, Lin Xian finally arrived in front of the heart. He looked at the heart and said, I'm here to take the fragment of the Samsara sword. I'll bring the Six Paths Gate back to the world. As if it understood Lin Xian, the heart in front of him started beating again. Every time it beat, it felt like the world was falling apart. The surrounding supremes and great emperors all retreated. Their blood was boiling and their faces were full of fear. If they continued to jump, their bodies would be torn apart. Buzz. At this moment, the heart cracked open and a palm-sized fragment floated out from within. There were mysterious patterns on the fragment, which was extremely terrifying. As soon as it appeared, the 9 heavens and 10 lands shook, and the clouds in the heavenly land changed. Everyone felt a chill run down their spines. Great Emperor Bayu was shocked. Is this the fragment of the legendary Samsara sword? Heavens, there's a fragment of the Samsara sword here. The eyes of the Bone Emperor, the Yellow Spring Emperor, and the others turned red. This thing was much more precious than the 3 live stone. If they could get it, they might be able to inherit the Samsara sword. Attack. The surrounding people attacked crazily. At this moment, even the great emperors attacked. Who dared? The Saintess of 6 Paths shouted coldly. She struck out with the Sword of 6 Paths. However, it only stopped a few people. The other supremes and great emperors rushed over. They charged toward Lin Xian. Get out of here, kid. Just you? He was not qualified to obtain the fragment of the Samsara sword. Countless furious roars could be heard. After Lin Xian heard this, his brows furrowed tightly. He turned his head slightly, and a fierce look appeared in his eyes. It wouldn't be that easy to reap the benefits of a third party. With a wave of his hand, he activated the 6 paths of reincarnation token. In that instant, the heart in front of him thumped, following a loud explosion. The martial monarchs were sent flying while coughing up blood. Cracks began to appear on the bodies of the martial monarchs. Their scalps went numb. It was simply too frightening. At this moment, the shattered fragments of the reincarnation sword started to shine brightly. A monstrous aura swept out. Everyone retreated in fear. People like the Black Eye, the Saintess of the 6 Paths, and the old man were all kneeling on the ground. Their eyes were filled with admiration. This was the true power of reincarnation. The immortal heavenly monarch said, "Retreat for now and wait for this power to disappear before attacking again." The Yellow Spring Great Emperor's eyes shone brightly as he unleashed the yellow spring water that filled the sky. "We can't let this kid have his way. This thing belongs to us." The white feather Great Emperor's face was even colder. He crushed a token and snorted inwardly. "No one can snatch this thing from us." These people were all waiting and preparing in secret. As soon as the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation disappeared, they would quickly make their move. As expected, the heart didn't continue to erupt with power. He stopped beating, and even the cracks on his body slowly disappeared. It seemed that it was going to return to the 3 life stone. Oh no! The ancient crocodile's expression changed drastically when he saw this scene. Zhong Lingxiu also said, "This way, Lin Xian will be in danger." "Master, do you have any ideas?" Chun Yixin shook her head. "Unless he gives up the fragments of the reincarnation sword, he will definitely become the target of public criticism." Lin Xian naturally understood this. He turned around and looked at the martial monarchs and martial monarchs around him. "Do you want this?" "Impossible. Kid, hand it over and I'll spare your life. Otherwise I'll destroy your heart and soul." One after another, angry roars sounded. Bone Emperor also said, "Hand it over and I'll spare your life. Otherwise I won't be merciful." Lin Xian threw his head back and laughed. "If you want it, it'll depend on your ability. The 6 paths of reincarnation." At this moment, Lin Xian's Rinnegan suddenly erupted, and an illusory eye appeared in the sky. This eye seemed to have been born with only one eye. It looked down on all living things and coldly stared at everyone. At this moment, even the martial monarchs and martial monarchs' pupils shrank. They didn't know why. They felt a chill run down their spines. Meanwhile, Lin Xian's Rinnegan shone brightly. The real six paths of reincarnation summon the remnant souls and broken bones between heaven and earth. At this moment, the remaining power of the powerhouses who died in the six paths of reincarnation all erupted. There were broken souls whistling in all directions. There were also broken bones. At this moment, they stood up from the ground and swept across the world. These weren't weaklings. They were super powerhouses who died in the ancient times. There were a lot of martial monarchs. At this moment, they were summoned by Lin Xian. It was really terrifying. At this moment, the ancient six paths of reincarnation seemed to have turned into Azura hell. Get lost! Immediately, the Yellow Spring Great Emperor roared, and the Yellow River swept in all directions. He also summoned some white bones, but at this moment, a big palm slapped down from the sky. It was a white bone palm. It directly smashed the Yellow River water all over the sky. The Yellow Spring Great Emperor was sent flying and spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was full of horror. Damn it! What kind of powerhouse is this? What kind of battle happened in the past? Not only him, but Bone Emperor was also entangled by evil spirits. There were 4 phantoms of evil spirits rushing over quickly. Those evil spirits were the remnant souls of the martial monarchs. In addition, Supreme Huangling, Wu Mia, Supreme Wu Hui, and Bai Yu Emperor. Everyone was under attack. A great battle broke out. In an instant, it was earth-shattering. The linen-clothed elder, bailing, and the others were full of despair. Fortunately, Lin Xian used the power of the sky-swallowing jar to envelop them and take them away. He looked around and said coldly, "Let's fight. Fight to your heart's content." The battle was very terrifying. Lin Xian turned around and faced the fragment of the Samsara sword. He wanted to take the fragment of the Samsara sword, but the process was not simple. The fragment of the Samsara sword was also very terrifying. If he wanted to subdue it, he had to get the recognition of the fragment. Lin Xian used the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation to fight against the fragment. Damn it! Stop that kid. I can't let him succeed. Bai Yu Emperor roared crazily. The wings on his back spread out like a heavenly knife, sweeping in all directions. In an instant, the sky and earth were split into 2. Endless light rushed toward Lin Xian. It wanted to swallow Lin Xian. Boom! The saintess of the 6 paths struck out the sword of 6 paths and stopped Bai Yu Emperor. At the same time, she said, "How dare you be rude to the master of Samsara?" She flicked her fingers, and sword chi danced in the air as she fought with Great Emperor Bai Yu. The others wanted to come over. In the end, they were either sent flying by the power of the 6 paths or attacked by the other martial monarchs. The scene was very terrifying. The scene here naturally attracted the attention of others. It was not only the heavenly land, the deity ground, and the universe outside also saw it. There was no other way. There were so many martial monarchs fighting, even though they were separated by the endless void. They could feel it clearly. Chapter 5976. In the heavens, a sea of lightning filled the air. A tall figure stood there. He was the Thunderclap Emperor. At this moment, a cold light burst out from his eyes. A jade pendant on his body sent a message. "You found the reincarnation sword fragment. Come and help me." You found the reincarnation sword fragment. The Thunderclap Emperor immediately soared into the sky and charged into the distance with endless lightning. This thing must belong to the Permitha. In an ancient city in the heavens, Lin Zhan, Lord Alcohol, and the others also saw this scene. It was the reincarnation sword fragment and Xian Er's aura. It seemed that he was in trouble. "Who will go?" Lord Alcohol asked. Lin Zhan walked out and said, "This time, I'll go. I'll help Xian get the reincarnation sword fragment." "That's good too. This time around, you and your father should be able to shock those people by joining hands. Lord Alcohol and the others also smiled. Lin Zhan soared into the sky. The Permitha also sensed it. This news even spread to the virtual immortal. The virtual immortal opened his eyes, and his gaze seemed to pierce through the 9 heavens. He said, "The reincarnation sword fragment actually appeared at this time. Well, let's get it then." An expert beside him asked, "Virtual immortal, should we attack?" The virtual immortal shook his head slightly. "No, that place has by you and Thunderclap. I'll give them another phantom of the heavenly punishment sword. I think they should be able to succeed. As for the 3 of you, get ready. We're going to the 9 underworlds. The divine realm has taken the initiative in the heavens. It will be difficult for us to turn the tables. Therefore, we have to occupy the 9 underworlds first." Yes, the 3 figures in front cupped their fists and said. They prepared to leave. As for the virtual immortal, he grabbed the sky with his hand. Suddenly, in the depths of the Permitha, the light of heavenly punishment appeared and condensed into a sword of lightning. The power of the lightning Tao on it was extremely terrifying. Moreover, it was all red lightning. This was the true heavenly punishment. The phantom of the heavenly punishment sword was too terrifying. Lei Yi, the virtual immortal, said coldly. In the distance, a young figure flew over. It was a handsome man. He knelt on one knee. "Grandpa, you're looking for me?" He was actually the grandson of the virtual immortal. His strength was actually at the great emperor level. The virtual immortal said, "I'll give you a phantom of the heavenly punishment sword. Take it with you and head to the heavenly land. You must bring me the fragments of the samsara sword." Understood. Lei Yi carefully took the phantom image of the heavenly punishment sword, then rose into the air and left. As for the other families in the deity ground and the great emperor families in the universe, they were also shocked. However, they only dared to watch from afar and did not dare to send people over. They could clearly sense that more than one great emperor was heading there. With such a lineup and combat strength, they simply couldn't resist. In the 6 Paths Gate, the battle was still as terrifying as ever. Originally, the 6 Paths Gate was already in ruins. Therefore, the martial monarchs and 9 heaven supremes did not hold back at all. The impact caused the surroundings to be even more shattered. Great Emperor Baiyu gave the order. By relying on Higgins' identity, he had somehow become a leader. He led the other rogue great emperors and rushed over. On the other side, the paragons seemed to have joined forces for the time being. After all, they were allied with the Paragon Palace. They no longer fought on their own. Now that they joined forces, they gradually pushed back the White Bones and Remnant Souls. When the Saintess of the 6 Paths saw this, she snorted coldly. "Protect the Samsara Master." The sword Chi of the 6 Paths of Reincarnation in her hand shone even more brightly. She even summoned a few corpses. These corpses were the powerhouses of the 6 Paths Gate in the past. Previously, they were buried under the ground. Now, at this critical moment, the Saintess of the 6 Paths took them out. These figures were extremely terrifying. They used the 6 Paths of Reincarnation fist, and their fists suppressed the world. Once again, they fought with the 9 heavens supremes and great emperors. Boom, boom. Shocking power came, and the blood of great Emperor Baiyu and the others boiled. Damn it, why isn't Jinglei here yet? Great Emperor Baiyu gritted his teeth. Calculating the time, he should be here by now. At this moment, heaven and earth split open, and endless lightning filled the air. The lightning turned into spears and descended with terrifying immortal chi. Like the spears of the thunder god, they sent the corpses flying. So powerful. The ancient crocodile, Black Eye, and the others were shocked. Are there more powerhouses coming? The Yellow Spring, Great Emperor, Void, Great Emperor, and the others also looked up at the sky. They exclaimed, What terrifying lightning! Could it be the Jinglei Great Emperor from the other world? In the sea of lightning, a tall man walked out. He was wearing a thunder robe and looked extraordinarily mighty. Terrifying lightning surrounded his body, making him look like a peerless thunder god. He said coldly, "Wu, the Jinglei Great Emperor from the other world. It's really someone from the other world. This person is so terrifying." The Supremes frowned. "Great Emperor Baiyu smiled. "You're finally here." Lin Xian, who was in front of him, also frowned. "Is the second Great Emperor from the other world here? What kind of good news was this?" He had to hurry up and collect the fragment of the reincarnation sword. At this moment, he had established a connection with the fragment of the reincarnation sword. However, he couldn't take it away for now. He still needed some time. When the Jinglei Great Emperor arrived, he stared at the fragment of the reincarnation sword in front of him. His eyes shone with cold light. "This thing belongs to the other world." His words were so arrogant that he didn't take the others seriously at all. The Yellow Spring Great Emperor, Bone Emperor, and the others all snorted. The other Supremes also frowned. One of them, Heavenly Saber Supreme, said coldly, "Aren't you too overbearing? Take it with your own strength. Otherwise, we won't accept it. If we don't accept it, we'll die." The Jinglei Great Emperor was very powerful. He condensed the Thunder God spear in his hand and threw it out. Heavenly Saber Supreme roared, "Do you think I'm a pushover?" He threw out the terrifying Heavenly Saber. The collision of the two was earth-shattering. However, Heavenly Saber Supreme flew backward and spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was full of shock. What terrifying lightning! The Jinglei Great Emperor snorted, "You're just a Supremes. How dare you compete with me with your incomplete power? I've never been afraid of anyone at the same level as me." The Thunderclap Emperor was filled with boundless arrogance, which shocked the crowd. It seemed that this guy's strength was even more terrifying than Baiyu Great Emperor. Seeing that no one dared to refute, the Jinglei Great Emperor turned his head and looked at Lin Xian. He frowned and said, "Where did this ant come from? How dare you covet the fragment of the Samsara sword? Get out of here." A furious roar that sounded like the roar of a thunder god was heard. Rolling thunderclouds rushed forward, intending to tear Lin Xian into pieces. Buzz. Lin Xian didn't look back. He waved his hand, and the power of the sky-swallowing jar appeared. It formed a vortex and swallowed the sea of thunder. The next moment, he said coldly, "How dare you attack me? Do you want to die? Which hand did it? Cut it off yourself. Don't make me do it. Otherwise, I'll make you suffer." Everyone went crazy. This guy is provoking the Jinglei Great Emperor. The Jinglei Great Emperor was also angry. "Good boy. No one has dared to challenge me for many years. I didn't expect a young ant like you to be so reckless. Well, I'll kill you with my own hands." That you're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.